We're about ready for some football. It's Toledo against Navy, and it is coming up next. Welcome to the Glass Bowl in Toledo, Ohio. Navy storming onto the field, ready to take on the Rockets here at their home stadium. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside Pete Najarian. Happy to be with you on this rainy Saturday afternoon in Ohio. You know, anytime you go up against a team like Navy, talking about the flexbone offense, the triple option offense, it requires so much preparation, especially when it involves a quarterback like Keenan Reynolds, who is just so athletic.
He is athletic. He's very aggressive. He runs this with complete discipline. When you get a chance to watch him play, look at how he does this spin move here. He finds the way down the field. He's got great vision. He can improvise. This is a guy who's extremely exciting. They're excited about him, and you can see that why they're so excited about him. He's able to make something out of nothing. He's got a lot of strength. He's got a lot of speed.
And for Toledo, such a prolific running back they have in David Fluellen.
David Fluellen is really something special. This is a guy who can got great combination of speed and strength. He's going to run over people. He's going to run by people. He's going to find his way through the holes. You get a great opportunity to see the speed on this particular play. Great vision, was able to get to the outside and then get into the touchdown. This wildcat formation is really something special. He's going to score when he gets that opportunity. But David Fluellen, he likes to run between the tackles, then he's going to get to the outside to score.
Well, Fluellen certainly a concern for Ken Niumatalolo. The sixth-year head coach of Navy was not happy with his team's performance a week ago against Duke, a 35-7 loss in which his squad turned it over 3 times, had 4 penalties, which doesn't seem like a lot, but is uncharacteristic for his squad. And meanwhile, when it comes to the Toledo Rockets, their young head coach, Matt Campbell, 33 years old, in his second full season, said that extra week, the bye week, no doubt helped his team to try and prepare for this triple option Navy offense that they will have to deal with here this afternoon. Drizzling, the rain has subsided somewhat, but still a steady drizzle. Back deep to receive, you see Marcus Thomas as Jeremiah Detmer, the outstanding kicker for Toledo, gets ready to kick it off, and this one is underway as Thomas backs up into his own end zone and will take a knee, and Navy will start from their own 25. Keenan Reynolds, the sophomore quarterback, will man this offense for Navy. Took the loss last week against Duke very harshly, puts a lot of it on himself. Guy who really studies and has all the athletic ability you need to run this triple option offense.
When they have struggled, the Navy offense, it's because Keenan Reynolds has struggled to get the yardage that he needs to get. They need to start that offense right away, right out of the gate, and Keenan Reynolds is clearly what the focus is for the Navy offense.
You don't see this often for Navy. 4 wides, 2 to either side, and a pass right away for Reynolds as he hits to Brandon Sanders out of the backfield for a gain of a few.
Looks like we got a flag on the play as well after that hit. It's interesting that they come out in that spread offense. This is something you and I had a chance to talk about beforehand. We talked about that Keenan Reynolds is a guy who actually came from a high school where he threw the ball a lot. That spread offense, very much like a Florida. But now, obviously, the triple option, a bit of a nuance off of that.
Personal foul, targeting, number 21 of the defense. His contact is targeting and initiating above the neck and head area. There's a 15-yard penalty. By rule, number 21 is disqualified.
So Ross Madison disqualified on the first play of the game. Now, the officials will ensure that it was, in fact, a blow where he was targeting above the neck. You've seen this crackdown in college football this year, and this is how they're trying to get college players to learn that it's just not going to be tolerated.
I do have to say, that actually looked like a clean hit to me. He lowered his shoulder. He came in, a solid hit. There was some helmet-to-helmet contact, but it certainly did not look like targeting to me. It looked like a very aggressive play, wanting to make the hit, but certainly not wanting to injure the other player.
You see the hit from Ross Madison, the 6'1 senior. Here's it in real speed. Still looked like he was leading with the shoulder.
It looks like he dipped the shoulder. He came in with a very, just a solid hit, and I think coach is thinking the same thing. He's probably a little bit mystified by the idea that that was actually a targeting play. When you look at this on full speed, here it is slowed down. You see, there's the lower. He does not really put the head into the head. I think this is a bad call. It might have been easier on the field to throw that flag and say, hey, this is targeting, but when you go up into the booth, you'd like to hear from them to see exactly if this was truly targeting.
Well, the microphone was not on for referee John McDade, so you saw Matt Campbell's reaction saying, hey, what did he say? Is Ross Madison disqualified or not? And McDade has told him that he is not disqualified.
That's great job. Great job by the folks up in the booth and the communication to be able to rectify that situation. Was it a penalty? Maybe it's a penalty, but was it something that was head-to-head and this was targeting? No, and I'm glad that they cleared that up. That would have been a huge loss to lose Ross Madison on play one.
Starting safety. So, yes, indeed, it is a 15-yard penalty and a 1st and 10 from their own 43 for Navy. Now you see that full backfield as the pitch goes to DeBrandon Sanders. A little bit of room as he gets twisted to the ground by Chase Murdoch right around midfield.
And a great job. One thing you're going to watch all day long is, can Navy sustain those blocks? If they can stay in front and open up those holes, this is something that they want to do. They want to move those chains. 6 yards on 1st down is exactly what Navy's goal will be.
A 2nd and 4 from midfield for Keenan Reynolds under center. Reynolds gives to the fullback. Swain, big hole, making Noah Copeland, who is all the way down to the 22-yard line before being pushed out of bounds by Chaz Whitaker.
That's the problem. Even with that extra week, some of the preparation to be able to go against this offense, it's an unusual offense. You don't see it every day. This is something that Toledo obviously has been focusing on, but when you break it, you're going to break for 15, 20 yards. A little bit more speed there. Copeland's got a touchdown, but an outstanding job by the offensive line up front.
Navy rushes for nearly 300 yards a game as Reynolds will keep it himself following Copeland, picks his way inside the 15 before being knifed to the ground by Ross Madison.
It's all about the decisions. Obviously, Keenan Reynolds is an outstanding quarterback, but it's his decision-making process that it's all about. That's what makes this offense work. Does he give the ball to the fullback, or does he take it back and try to hit that edge? That time hit the edge, kept the ball. Great decision on his part. 7 yards on 1st down.
A 2nd and 3. Reynolds going to keep it himself and get ripped to the ground by Trevon Hester.
Reynolds on the keeper.
We haven't seen a whole lot of defense yet to really talk about, but Trevon Hester that time, he's one of these guys who likes to play on the other side of the football. That time, gets off the block, doesn't get stuck on the block, tried to get in his knees, he fought that off, stayed on his feet. Great job of pursuing and getting up there. Now it's a 3rd and 3. Not as easy as it would have been had they been able to get 1 or 2 yards on that last play.
Swain, Thomas, and Whiteside in the backfield. Reynolds going to keep it himself, tries to slip for a few, but will be tackled short of the 1st down marker by Chase Murdoch.
Chase Murdoch's a name we're going to hear a lot about this afternoon because he's one of these multiple linebackers that you've got on the Toledo side of the football. Does an outstanding job of pursuing. Chase Murdoch at 6 foot 215, outstanding linebacker.
Navy lining up to go for it here on a 4th and 1 from the 12 of Toledo on the opening drive of this contest. Reynolds pointing something out under center. Reynolds pitches it to Whiteside, has the 1st down, cuts it back right, and Whiteside is down to the 2.
Quick snap, everybody expecting Chris Wayne to get the football, 5'11", 232 pounds, big, strong fullback right up the middle. It's not what they did. They decided to actually change that. Quick pitch out to the outside, Whiteside hitting the outside. He's been hurt, been kind of banged up. He did not look banged up there. Great job of getting the edge.
Has missed the last 3 games, averaged more than 10 yards a carry in the first 2 contests of the season. A 1st and goal from the 2. Handoff to Swain, bullying into the end zone for the touchdown. Navy right down the field on the ground, and they strike first here in Toledo.
Sure made it look easy, didn't they, Ryan? I mean, the fact that on 1st down they got a few yards on that pass play, that spread offense look, the 15 yards, but then 6 yards, 7 yards, 8 yards, and then you finally reward Chris Swain, that fullback who's going to get a lot of carries today. If Keenan Reynolds doesn't have the ball, Chris Swain is the 2nd most productive man on that offense.
3rd touchdown of the year for Swain. Nick Sloan on for the extra point. And Sloan boots it through. Swain finds the painted grass. Navy finds the end zone on their first drive of the game. It's 7-0 Midshipmen. An 8-play, 75-yard scoring drive for the Midshipmen, capped by Chris Swain's 2-yard touchdown run. And Navy now outscoring opponents 38-3 in the first quarter thus far in this 2013 season.
Ryan, they want to use that clock. They want to come out and surprise them. They did exactly that on play number 1, where they spread the field and I think surprised Toledo with that opening play, but then started to go back to Navy football. Let's run it. Let's pound it. We're going to hit the edge. We're going to hit some in the middle. They moved 75 yards in a short period of time for the first opening score.
Austin Grebe, the kickoff specialist, will send it deep to Bernard Reedy. He is quite dangerous as he fields it at the 2. Here comes Reedy to the 20 and is chopped down at the 24-yard line. And that's where Toledo will set up shop with Terrence Owens, the 6'4" senior quarterback out of Cleveland, Ohio, 3rd in passing yards in school history. Holds the MAC record for completion percentage in a season. Came in his sophomore year when he completed more than 72% of his passes. Thus far this year, you see the numbers. It's been an uneven season thus far for Terrence Owens. He works with 2 wides to the far right. Now Reedy in motion. Fluellen to the right of Owens. Faking the handoff, and the southpaw arm threw it right into the chest of Alonzo Russell, who could not haul it in.
And Alonzo Russell's got to do a better job of actually looking that ball in and ensuring that first very simple pass. That's what you want, an easy pass on first down. They got exactly that. Terrence Owens put it right on the money. Alonzo's got to catch that football.
You see the no-huddle spread offense for Toledo. That's what they will run. Rockets 3-3 coming into today's game. Their offensive line has allowed just 3 sacks all year, tied for best in the nation. Fluellen gets the handoff. Up the middle, finds a crease and a cut. Fluellen dragging defenders. Still going, and finally dragged down at the 47-yard line by Quizell Bertrand.
We are going to see a steady diet of David Fluellen throughout this football game. He is an absolutely outstanding running back. I think he's one of the most powerful, gifted running backs between the tackles in college football. Great vision. You see how he makes some of those moves. The guys up front blocking, he did an excellent job of reading that play.
This time, Russell does make the catch on the far side. Now, David Fluellen's last game, a 220-yard performance, and he really benefited from the bye week as well. Every member of that coaching staff for Toledo saying, with all the workload he endures, he needed that bye week. He certainly came out of the gates fast there. A 2nd down and 4. Owens shifting things around. In his shotgun with Fluellen to his right. Fluellen gets the handoff, room to operate, and David Fluellen has a first down. Chris Johnson finally taking him to the turf.
Ryan, part of the reason they were able to run through the tackles so well is the big guy up front, Zach Kieran, the big center. It's a senior, 6'5", 300-pound, all-MAC last year, 2nd team the previous year. The guy's got a 3.6 GPA in civil engineering. He's everything. He's a great student athlete. They want to run behind him.
Big-time NFL prospect as well on a 1st and 10 from the 41 of Navy. Reedy in motion. He is dangerous as he sets up on the right side of the line. Owens faking the handoff to the near sideline, finding Russell. That looks like the first down play thus far.
It looks like they want to go and work those outsides, work those cornerbacks. It makes some sense. They've got some big, strong receivers. And Alonzo Russell, 6'4", about 190 pounds. He's got great height. That time, he's looking the ball in. He made the catch.
Fluellen, patient as he hit the hole, was taken down by Sargenti. DJ Sargenti, the senior linebacker who came to Navy as a quarterback, having an outstanding year thus far in that linebacking core for the Midshipmen.
The success that they're going to have at Navy is going to be those linebackers pursuing across the line of scrimmage, going sideline to sideline, and somehow finding a way to stop David Fluellen.
A 3rd and 3 for Owens with 3 wides to the left. Reedy is alone on that right side. Fluellen shifting. He gets the handoff up the middle, has the first down and more, muscling into defenders. Cody Peterson met him first. Johnson finally drags him down, but plenty of yardage for another first down from David Fluellen.
I sure do like those linebackers. Cody Peterson, co-captain, which is a monstrous honor when you're at the Naval Academy. He's one of the captains. He's a nasty middle linebacker. I mean that in a good way. He comes there with something when he hits that hole.
There is the fake and toss again. This time it's to Reedy, not Russell, and a flag comes flying in late after Russell gained a few.
On that previous play, they spread that offensive line so wide.
Number 9 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So Russell called for the hold on the reception by Reedy.
You want your wide receivers to get out there and block, but you can see he's got some jersey. He's got his right hand. He had his left hand. He's stuck with his right hand. They're going to catch that every time, especially if you extend that arm out a little bit. They can see that hold. It's just too easy.
It'll be a first and long for Toledo. Owens fires one right. And Reedy, running before he had it, drops it. That's the second drop of the drive for the receivers of the Rockets.
It has not cost them yet, but those drops are something that hurts offenses. It stops drives, and now you put yourself into a very long second and about 20 yards to get this first down. Makes it a lot more difficult. You've got to dial up a couple of very long, interesting plays to get this first down.
Olak, the receiver, alone on the right side on a 2nd and 20 as Owens goes to the line, trying to respond to Navy's opening scoring touchdown drive. Owens fakes the handoff to Fluellen. Here's Reedy. He's dangerous in the open field, makes one man miss, but can't get past Cody Peterson. Parrish Gaines was over to help as well.
Chris Johnson, Cody Peterson, DJ Sargenti, Jordan Drake. We're going to hear these names because these linebackers are all big and they can run. They can cover some grass. They did a nice job that time of pinning in the receiver Reedy, who had a great opportunity. It looked like open space. Didn't get that open space because everybody on the defense collapsed in a pursuit for the football.
A 3rd and 18 from the 35. Toledo needs to get to the 17 to pick up this first. Owens to throw. Under pressure. Owens slips through on the run. Being tracked down from behind at the 30. Diving to make the stop was Aaron Davis. And that will set up 4th and long from the 30-yard line.
Great pursuit by that defensive line. Great coverage downfield, not giving him any room to throw for Terrence Owens. Let's go back to that drive. Couple of drops, and then that holding penalty, that drop by Reedy, very costly. Obviously, the holding penalty pushing it back. Now you're in a very long field goal position.
Jeremiah Detmer is one of the best. This will be from 47. His long on the year is 46. Has made 28 of his last 29 field goals. Spot down, Detmer on its way, and it is good. Jeremiah Detmer from 47 yards to salvage the drive for Toledo. And the Rockets respond with a field goal after Navy's opening touchdown. Detmer relieved more than excited. His team is on the board. 3 lead in the first quarter. Before the game, nice moment as Toledo dedicated this seat to the prisoners of war and those missing in action in our armed services. Nobody will ever sit in that seat, and Toledo actually the first collegiate team to give this honor. Certainly appropriate on this day with Navy in town.
Not only appropriate, but I would suggest that every college across America decides that this is a great decision and they want to copy this whole idea, and let's get this around the rest of the country. Just an absolutely fabulous idea, and it's a great way to show some thanks to the POWs and the MIA.
Detmer to kick off after his 47-yard field goal. Back deep to receive. Thomas will take it out of the end zone. Thomas a full head of steam and some room to operate as he gets to the 30-yard line before Ethan Kagi took him to the turf.
Coach Campbell down there at Toledo's got to be a little bit disappointed. Great kick return this time by Thomas, finding the hole, getting an opportunity, and being able to slice and dice and get himself all the way up to the 30-yard line. Great field position on the second drive for the Naval Academy now, but Coach Campbell, he's got to be kicking himself for a couple of those drops, and obviously the penalty. That might have cost him 7 points, but they got the 3.
Navy scored on an 8-play, 75-yard drive in which they had 5 different backs rush the football on their opening drive. Here's the fullback Swain muscling through a defender with a nice chunk of yardage on first down. Christian Smith bringing Swain to the turf. You and I were both very impressed just by the size of Swain up close this morning.
When you look at him from the academy, you don't expect to see a guy that big, but we got up close. Chris Swain is all man, and he's all there at 230 pounds.
A 2nd and 4. There's Swain again bullying through a couple defenders. Takes an army to drive him back. Junior Silvestri was there, but it's going to be a first down for Navy as Swain got beyond the 40.
Junior Silvestri is an outstanding linebacker, and I think we're going to see him on a lot of plays today. Look at the way he lowered himself, bent his knees just like you're supposed to, but a little bit late. Chris Swain, excellent job, first down for the Naval Academy.
Reynolds will keep it himself and twist ahead for a couple of yards. Keenan Reynolds, no doubt a threat to run as well. He's rushed for over 400 yards thus far this year, 7 touchdowns on the ground. But he can throw it too, which isn't always the case in this triple option offense.
Throws extremely well. You got all new backs just came into the offense for Navy.
Copeland is the fullback. Whiteside and Thomas are back there as well. Joffrey Whiteside playing for the first time in 4 weeks. You see Copeland, the fullback, in for Swain. On a 2nd and 7, Reynolds going to keep it himself, trying to squeeze through, gets met, drop, ball comes loose. It's still loose. Officials are saying that Reynolds was down before the fumble, so it will remain Navy possession. Ray Bush laid the lick.
Navy does not want to return to what happened against Duke, where uncharacteristically they had penalties and they had the turnovers. They had 3 turnovers. They cannot have that happen. This time, looks like he's down long before the ball actually came out. Great job by the referees.
Reynolds will give up the middle to Copeland, and Copeland near a first down marker.
Looks like he's got it, Ryan. From the where it looks like the referees spotted that, definitely got first down.
They give him the first down. Marquise Moore on the tackle. You mentioned the turnovers for Navy last week, uncharacteristic. They had 3 against Duke. They had 3 turnovers through their first 4 games combined. And that has been characteristic of Ken Niumatalolo's teams. A 1st and 10, pitch to Brandon Sanders. Plenty of room to operate. Spins ahead for a first down before being whacked again by Ray Bush.
Darius Statton did an outstanding job that time blocking. This is an unselfish offense and an unselfish team with the Naval Academy. Great job of Keenan Reynolds going down the line, gets that quick pitch out there to Brandon Sanders. But the blocking, Darius Statton, outstanding job, opens up that play for a very nice gain on first down.
They're going to measure. Very close to the marker was Brandon Sanders. Just one of the many backs you will see Navy get involved in this triple option offense. They really rotate in about 8 or 9 different backs. And with the addition of Joffrey Whiteside, who is their number 1 slot back, that backfield gets even deeper today.
Ryan, Brandon Sanders is really something special. He's only a sophomore, 5'7", 160 pounds. Listen again, 160 pounds. And yet he's got that speed, he's got that agility to get to the outside. When he catches the football, they don't throw a lot, but when he's caught the football so far, 21.9 yards per catch. So this is an explosive young guy who's really got something that the Naval Academy is going to love. They're going to try to use that speed today against that Toledo defense.
It'll be 2nd and about an inch. Darius Staten, Marcus Thomas in the backfield with Chris Swain. On 2nd and just an inch or 2 for Keenan Reynolds on Navy's 2nd drive. Reynolds gives to Swain, has the first down and plenty more. Finally cut down at about the 32-yard line by Marquise Moore.
Ryan, the one difference between Navy and Army is the offensive lines. And what I mean by that is the Navy offensive line, they've got a lot more size. You're talking about E.K. Binns, 287, Tanner Fleming, 275, Jake Zuzek, 6 foot 310. Those are some big linemen for the Naval Academy.
Reynolds, quick handoff to Staten, and Staten trying to push ahead. Got a few before being driven backwards by a pile of Toledo jerseys. Set up second down. 3:32 left in this first quarter, and Navy continuing to pound it on the ground.
Just pound it and grind it. This is Navy football. This is what the academies do. They know that they've got a size disadvantage most of the time. So how are they going to defend that? They're going to run these triple option offenses. Very difficult defense. They do an outstanding job of staying with their blocks and at times taking the knees out of the defenders, trying to get them onto the ground.
Williams Jenkins into the game, off to the left of Reynolds for the first time. Reynolds keeping himself in pitch. It's Whiteside, had trouble collecting, and then driven down for a loss by Madison and Silvestri.
Give some credit to the Toledo defense. That time, perfectly defensed. This is not an easy offense, even with the extra time to prepare. But that time, Junior Silvestri, this guy's going to be playing on Sundays. He's a great athlete, big kid, strong kid, leads the team in tackles for a reason, because he can run, he can pursue, and he makes plays like this.
A 3rd down and 7 for Navy at the Toledo 29. Reynolds in a shotgun, 3 wides to his right. Reynolds to throw. Dropped by Jenkins on a dangerous pass with Trent Voss coming.
Jenkins needs to come down with that ball. It actually was well thrown. It was not an easy catch, but he had a shot at it. He needs to make that catch, because if he makes that, he's got enough room in front of him to make that first down. The ball was perfectly thrown by Keenan Reynolds. We talked about in high school, he threw the football, Ryan. This guy threw that Florida-style offense, that spread offense, that option spread. This guy can throw the football downfield.
Perhaps the weather, it is rainy, affecting. We've seen some drops in the early going here. Navy will go for it on a 4th and 7 from the Toledo 29. Reynolds under pressure. Flush to his right. Reynolds will be dropped. Back at the 35, Ray Bush and Trayvon Hester were all over Keenan Reynolds. And Toledo is able to hold on Navy's second drive. So the midshipmen came right down the field on their first drive for a score. Looked like they were moving down again, but this time Toledo comes up with a big 4th down stop, and they get the ball back. Certainly is a splendid Saturday night entree. Pretty good appetizer thus far here in Toledo. Good turnout as well, considering the weather. Navy with a 7-3 lead. Toledo holding on 4th down, a sack of Keenan Reynolds. And they take over on their own 35. Handoff to Kareem Hunt, and he slips ahead for about 5 yards. Hunt, a true freshman who Toledo is very high on. Doesn't see a ton of carries because David Fluellen, such an outstanding back. But the Toledo coaching staff talking about getting him a few more carries here today. 2nd and 5. There's Hunt again, trying the right side, wiggling his way outside, has the first down, and finally banged down from behind by Chris Johnson after a gain of 7.
Toledo football this year has really been based upon running backs running between the tackles, mostly David Fluellen, but obviously Hunt getting his opportunity here and making the most of it. Outstanding job, bouncing to the outside, finding the open space, getting the first down, going north-south just like you're supposed to. Excellent job that time by Hunt.
And Kareem Hunt, another back who's averaging more than 6 yards a carry this year, which is really just the standard for those Toledo running backs. A 1st down and 10 from their own 47. Owens gives to Hunt. Again, a lot of room. And another 1st down. Hunt all the way down to the Navy 41 before Wave Ryder brought him down.
The best name in the history of sports, Wave Rider. This kid's outstanding. From Kenahi, Hawaii. This is an outstanding football player, but his name has got to be one of the best in all of sports.
Handoff again to Hunt. Trying the left side, and Chris Johnson wrapping him down from behind. But another big gain on first down. And really a lot of room to operate right now for the true freshman Hunt.
Absolutely. Now David Fluellen back in the football game as well, but that offensive line, when they get moving and with that size, 295, 290, 300, 335, those are big men that can actually open some big holes. Those running backs just have to cut off their buns and get it themselves up and north and south on the field.
A 2nd and 3 for Toledo, moving swiftly down the field. Owens to throw. Airs one out. Open in the end zone was Reedy, but he was just overthrown by Owens.
They had him. They had a shot. He had him by a couple of steps that time. Bernard Reedy, great job getting himself into the position. Did a nice move on the cornerback on the outside. Come back towards the post. Outstanding job. Just a little bit too far by Terrence Owens.
Reedy had Bertram beat. Instead, it's a 3rd and 3 with 10 seconds left in the quarter for Toledo. 2 receivers right. Russell is alone to the left. Fluellen is the back to the left. Handoff goes to Fluellen, and he is going to be cut down short of that first down marker by Cody Peterson. It'll be decision time for Toledo on a 4th and short. Big hits here and scores as well. Navy on top, courtesy of Swain here in Toledo. Toledo. It's chilly and it's a bit rainy, but that's a little extreme. Navy with a 7-3 lead as we start this second quarter. Decision time for Toledo. Looks like they will go for a 4th and 2 on the Navy 33-yard line. David Fluellen in a wildcat formation. Fluellen takes it himself, gets cut down and stopped for a loss on 4th down. Parrish Gaines got to him first. Sarah was there as well, and Navy holds on 4th down.
Not a bad decision to go for it on 4th down. I'm not so sure that I want to be necessarily in that wildcat formation for this. Let's just stick to the offense that we know and we love. There are times when the wildcat makes sense. That time on a 4th down, just take a look at the speed and the guys coming from the outside. Great pursuit that time by Parrish Gaines. This guy started 23 games at cornerback. He's done that for a reason, Ryan. He's an outstanding corner. Great pursuit on that play.
Handoff up the middle, the fullback Copeland able to muscle ahead to the 40-yard line. Junior Silvestri on the tackle. So after Toledo stopped Navy on a 4th down at their own 30, Navy responds with a 4th down stop of their own. Now a 2nd and 4. Reynolds give up the middle. It's Copeland who breaks a tackle and is able to muscle forward for the first down before Jaron Elliott got him from behind.
Jaron Elliott's an outstanding defensive end, but he's undersized. He'll remind you of a Bruce Irvin or something. 6'3", 240 pound. Great athlete, great player. Makes the play at the end. Great job of pursuing and sticking with it. But that time, you got to love the way the running back kept moving his legs, did not stop.
Reynolds going to pitch it outside to Thomas. Thomas dashing down the sideline. Has another Navy first down. Chaz Whitaker finally riding him out of bounds.
Thomas is going to have to give a nice high five to Chris Swain. Chris Swain with a great lead block that time on a great linebacker, Junior Silvestri. Take a look at number 37. Gets him spun, and it gives him an opportunity for Silvestri to be late to the play. Thomas able to get to the outside, get that first down.
A 1st and 10 for Navy at the Toledo 41. Reynolds give to the fullback Swain. Swain busting forward to the 35, and Significant chunks on every down on the ground for Navy, Pete.
Moving those chains. Why not stick with what's working right now? You're running to the inside, occasionally try to get back out to the outside, and reward Swain. He does a great job blocking on the previous play. Let's give him the ball. The big fella at 232 pounds. He's going to put that head down. He's going to get some yards, 6 yards on first down. That's Navy football.
Swain has 20 yards on 4 carries and a touchdown. Navy well over the century mark already as Reynolds fumbles the football, and it's picked up by Toledo. Off and running is J-Rone Elliott. Elliott is going to go all the way in for the score.
We're just talking about him being the athlete that he is. Great job that time, picking up the ball, having enough elusiveness to be able to run that ball back for a touchdown. Excellent job by J-Rone Elliott that time, the senior out of Cleveland, Ohio. He plays on the other side of the football frequently, leads the team in tackles for a loss. This time gets his opportunity, picks up the ball, takes it to the house.
And able to just toss to Brandon Sanders aside and outrun him. A 4th straight game that this Toledo defense has taken a fumble to the house.
Brandon Sanders at 160 pounds. He's not going to probably outrun him, but he's going to be able to use that stiff arm and keep him off him to get into the end zone.
The extra point is booted through by Detmer, and what a turn of events. Navy looking to take a 2-score lead. Instead, Keenan Reynolds puts it on the turf, and J-Rone Elliott not only cleans it up, but takes it to the house. Toledo up by 3. J-Rone Elliott's fumble return for a score has put the Rockets on top. Last week turnovers were a problem for Navy as well.
3 turnovers last week absolutely killed Navy. The penalties didn't help, but these turnovers, the interceptions, the fumbles, all of that is something that Navy is famous not doing, is turning over the football. Those 3 turnovers, and now this one. You put the ball on the carpet, J-Rone Elliott gets an opportunity, brings it all the way back to the house. Excellent job of scooping that ball, finding his way to the end zone. They find themselves on top 10-7, and Navy has done an excellent job on offense, but that's the kind of a turnover that can turn this game around.
4th straight game with a fumble return for a touchdown by Toledo. That one from 68 yards by Elliott. Back deep to receive is Thomas. Thomas dashing ahead, has a crease, and was just grabbed by the ankles across the 30 by Junior Silvestri.
Interesting to see so many of these starters running down on special teams as well, right? To see Junior Silvestri covering a kickoff to make that tackle on Thomas. Excellent job.
The chase for the Sprint Cup meets the big one at Talladega Superspeedway. With only 5 races left, Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson are still out in front, and anything can happen at NASCAR's most unpredictable track. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega, presented by 5 Hour Energy, Sunday at 1 Eastern on ESPN.
They got a little, I think it's a holding call on this last play on that kick return. It's going all the way back to the 10-yard line. So they've started off with good field position, Ryan, on the previous couple of drives. This time, deep in their own end, 10-yard line. They've got to get some first downs and get themselves out of the shadow of the end zone.
It looked like Navy was going in for another score before that fumble by Reynolds. And here they begin shop from their own 10. The handoff to the fullback Copeland. Plunges ahead for a couple. Navy well over the century mark on the ground thus far today. 125 yards rushing on 22 carries. They average just under 300 a game, among tops in the nation. Joffrey Whiteside in that backfield off to the left. Handoff goes to the fullback Copeland, who is tripped up. He had a little space, too, if he didn't fall.
If he keeps his feet that time, Copeland had an excellent opportunity to get about 15, 20 yards. That's part of this triple option offense. When you get those kind of opportunities, you got to keep those feet going. You got to get those explosive plays to make it easier to keep moving those chains.
Important 3rd and 3 now for Navy from their own 17-yard line. Whiteside, Staten, and Copeland are in the backfield for Reynolds. Reynolds going to keep it himself, slip a tackle, has the first down across the 25-yard line.
That was a great decision that time by Keenan Reynolds. Outstanding running, getting himself to the edge On that previous fumble, the problem was the nose guard blew up the play. This time, the offensive line did a much better job up front, giving him an opportunity to get to that edge. He hit it. He wanted to make sure they got the first down. Now it's a much better field position for Navy.
Hand off to the fullback, Swain, who was being grabbed by the ankles and finally popped up top. Christian Smith on the play. It takes a great many bodies to take down Chris Swain, who is responsible for the one Navy touchdown thus far today. 5'11", 232-pound back who put on 12 pounds of muscle in the offseason. 2nd and 5, Reynolds going to pitch it. Dashing ahead is Thomas. And Thomas just got clipped and dropped across the 40 by Ross Madison. But another first down for Navy.
Great job again by Keenan Reynolds that time. Very quick decision to make this pitch. Take a look at Trayvon Hester right on top of him. Gets that pitch off, gets the opportunity for Thomas to hit that edge, get that first down. And now from a 1st and 10 at the 10, now they're at the 42-yard line.
Reynolds to throw. Has a man open. It's Staten. And Staten is inside the 40-yard line before being twisted to the ground.
The very first play of the game was a pass. They put themselves into a spread position. This time it looks like the triple option's coming, but nope. Thomas going right down the numbers. Excellent job. We talked about Keenan Reynolds. He can throw the football. Take a look at that pass. The guy can throw the football.
Swain for a couple. That's the thing about Keenan Reynolds when he throws as well. It's not often to the wide receivers. You look at the reception distribution of this Navy team, it often is to some of those backs, like Darius Staten.
Keenan Reynolds also appreciates the fact that those receivers do an outstanding job of blocking and staying on those blocks, opening up that edge. That's Aiken, that's Bellina, the two senior wide receivers.
And that's really more their function in this triple option offense. A 2nd and 8 from the Toledo 35 for Navy. Reynolds has DeBrandon Sanders on the pitch, and Sanders gets clubbed to the ground by Junior Silvestri. After a gain of a couple, it'll be 3rd down.
The problem is they're still getting to that edge, and if they can get to that edge, they can cut that down and get an opportunity to get 4 or 5 yards. 3rd down, they're looking to get 3 or 4. They're not looking at a first down because given the field position, Ryan, I think on 4th and 2, they take the ball and try to go for it anyway.
Here's a 3rd and 6. Reynolds has Whiteside, Sanders, and Copeland back there. Sean Lynch, the receiver, on the near left side. Reynolds will give up the middle to the fullback Copeland, and Copeland backs his way right near the 27-yard line. Junior Silvestri and Christian Smith on the tackle. And it will be a Navy first down.
Well, they didn't need all 4 downs to get that first down, but a great job that time. Just look at the way Copeland and Swain, they keep those legs driving, and the big fellas up front doing an outstanding job of pushing that defense back, making them play on the defensive side of the ball, keeping them from getting towards Keenan Reynolds when he makes these decisions.
1st and 10, Copeland, the fullback again, muscling ahead inside the 25-yard line, gain of a few on 1st down. 165 yards on the ground already for Navy.
That is something else, isn't it? These guys, they're going to run the football. They've got to get points, though. One of the issues they've faced this year is getting themselves into the red zone. Coach has talked about this. When you get in the red zone, you got to come away with points, and we want touchdowns, not field goals.
2nd and 8. Swain in at fullback. Here is Swain on the carry, drags a defender forward, gain of a few. Junior Silvestri there with the stop, and it will be 3rd down. Because there's always a positive gain, Pete, it usually is a manageable 3rd down for this Navy squad as well.
Absolutely, and that's their entire goal. Let's just get into manageable 3rd downs. This one may be a little bit longer, 3rd down and 5. But this is 4-down territory.
Yeah.
I don't think they even want to settle for a field goal here. If they get close enough and it's a 4th and 1, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for it.
A 3rd and 5. Reynolds under center. Reynolds off to his left, trying to escape a tackle, and finally cut down by Chase Murdoch.
It's that pursuit up front. That time it was Allen Covington coming through. Those 3 or 4 defensive linemen, every once in a while they've been able to get penetration. When they do, that's a problem. That time Covington, excellent job slowing down that read option. Keenan had nowhere else to go. Now it's 4th down. They've got to go for the field goal, given that it's 4th and 4.
Nick Sloan on to try it from the left hash. Sloan has a long of 33 this year. This is from 38. Have good spot down. Sloan with plenty of leg, but he drives it wide. Sloan misses. He's now 3 of 6 on the season. Had the distance, but just hooked it. And Toledo likes what they see. It may be cold, but you can go shirtless when your defense holds. It's on ABC or ESPN2. Rising into the national title hunt are the undefeated 9th-ranked UCLA Bruins, led by dark horse Heisman candidate Brett Hundley. They face a stiff road test versus Kevin Hogan and the number 13 Stanford Cardinal. Plus, Braxton Miller and the 4th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes look to keep the nation's longest win streak alive when they host the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa, Ohio State, and UCLA Stanford. Available nationally today, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC or ESPN2. Flags fly as Toledo gets ready to operate their offense.
False start. Number 65 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Nelson called for the false start. You know, Navy, as we take a look at the false start, Navy has to play disciplined football. That's how they win. They have to capitalize. That's what Ken Niumatalolo always preaches. And a turnover deep in Toledo territory that was taken back for a touchdown, and now a missed field goal. And another opportunity for Toledo here to extend the lead as Fluellen goes ahead for a few.
And add a couple of penalties as well, Ryan. So they've had a few that feel like as if they're almost in that Duke sort of a scenario right now. But they're only down 10-7. We're most of the way through the second quarter now with just 6 minutes to play. So they're not out of the game like they were at Duke very early in that football game. So they can be very encouraged by that. But they've got to stop these turnovers, and they've got to maintain themselves better and not have these penalties as well.
2nd and 11. Toss to Fluellen on a screen. Fluellen made Johnson miss. Now runs over a defender, cuts it back right, and is near a 1st down.
Fluellen does an outstanding job of catching the ball out of the backfield. We talk about his running ability, but you get him in open space, he does an outstanding job this time. We talked about his power in between the tackles. How about these moves? How about that vision to be able to get to the outside? You're not going to bring him down with an arm tackle. He's going to run through that every time. Great job that time by David Fluellen.
A 3rd and 1, and Fluellen has the 1st down and more. Running through Wave Rider's tackle attempt. And getting up near the 40-yard line, Parrish Gaines caught him from behind.
We love that name, but he's got to make that play. Wave Rider, an outstanding safety, but he's got to come up and make that play and prevent that 1st down. Now the chains are moving. Toledo's starting to feel it right now. It feels like there's a bit of a momentum shift right now.
Owen's just going to take a dive, thought about running, and saw DJ Sargenti coming and said, you know what, I'm going to sit right here.
Well, he looked down the field. It was a good decision, it appeared. But then as he looked downfield a little bit further, those linebackers were pursuing. Everybody was coming quickly. Jordan Drake on the outside. Obviously, Cody Peterson, Sargenti, all those linebackers. We talked about it. Ryan, they can all run. They're going to pursue very quick. What looks to be open, they're going to close very fast.
Kareem Hunt into the game in the backfield for Toledo. Hunt has 31 yards on 4 carries thus far. Has done a nice job spelling Fluellen. And now a timeout taken by the Rockets. The play clock winding down. 4:42 to go in this second quarter. Toledo has a 10-7 lead on Navy. A 2nd and 10 from their own 40 when we get back. Second quarter lead on Navy. You take a look at that midshipman linebacking core. A lot of guys having very good years who weren't natural linebackers when they came to Navy either.
No, but guys at Navy, they convert to different positions depending on needs. And Sargenti, you talked about it earlier, was a quarterback, moved to linebacker. they all have athleticism. They've all played different positions somewhere else. They're linebackers, and they look like linebackers right now at the Naval Academy.
Owens to throw, has time, and just fired one behind Bernard Reedy. Kareem Hunt, the running back, was dashing down the near sideline. Owens throwing it behind Reedy.
You know, you watch this play, you just kind of wonder what he was looking at there. Completely missed the receiver. You don't see that type of thing very often. Ryan, you talked about his efficiency a few years ago, but that's been steadily kind of drifting a little bit lower and a little bit lower. 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions coming into this week. He threw 18 touchdowns his sophomore year. So this is a guy who's just sort of trying to find his way, and he's not found himself yet.
Llewellyn goes split out to the far left on a 3rd and 10. Owens
He's got room.
tucking it and running. Owens to the 45 and gets cut down well shy of the first down marker. DJ Sargenti and Chris Johnson got him high and low.
There's a shock. Those linebackers pursuing. I even said, looks like he's got some room. Terrence Owens, very athletic, 6'4", 205-pound, very athletic, running quarterback when he needs to. But those linebackers, Chris Johnson, Cody Peterson, DJ Sargenti, these guys pursue, they attack, and they close that down in a hurry. Now they've got to punt the football, Toledo.
First punt of the game as Vince Penza comes on for Toledo to punt. Back deep is Sean Lynch. Lynch wants to be a weatherman after his service commitment, so he should have no problem with the elements. As the delay of game is taken by Toledo. And it will set up 4th and a little bit longer, so a little bit more room for Penza to operate perhaps. Penza averaging 42.5 yards a punt this year. Penza gets off a low wobbler off the side of the foot. Danger for the Toledo bench, just shanked it.
Oh.
Good field position for Navy.
Wow.
After the mishit by Penza. They'll start from their own 45 when we get back. Late second quarter action, but the midshipmen have excellent field position after this horrendous punt by Toledo punter Vince Penza.
It's really unfortunate. He just completely missed the ball that time, Ryan, but that gives Navy what they want and what they desire. They need field position. They got 3:42 on the clock. They want to get a score going into halftime, starting at their own 45. Much easier than what should have been something maybe back towards their 20 or maybe even inside the 20.
Navy with over 170 yards on the ground this afternoon. Not much room there for Noah Copeland, though. Maybe one, and it will be 2nd and 9.
Starting to look like they've actually shifted a few new defensive linemen into the defense because they're probably not very satisfied. Navy has run the ball at will. It's been their own mistakes that have actually cost them on a few of these drives. So now you've seen a completely new defensive line for Toledo.
Reynolds going to pitch it to Copeland, dashing across the 50, ridden down by Chase Murdoch. It'll set up 3rd and 3 for the midshipmen, who do have 3 timeouts. Still plenty of time left in this half. Just inside 3 minutes. A 3rd and 3. Navy on the afternoon is 3 of 6 on 3rd downs. Up the middle, it's Copeland, who was able to pulley through one tackle, but yeah, he's going to be short.
It's going to be a little bit short, and this is a really interesting decision now for the coach. Do you go for it, Ryan, or well, it looks like that's
right to it.
Quick decision.
Reynolds pushing the pile forward. It looks like he has it. Was stood up right at the 45. That is where the sticks are. No indication yet.
That's 1st down.
And that is going to be a 1st down. It looks like.
Yeah.
Yes. We now have it official.
What they did was very quick. They made the decision immediately. They said, we're going for it. And immediately, Keenan Reynolds got everybody into position, got himself. They got enough push to just barely get that ball over the line. That's exactly what they needed to do to get that 1st down. Now with 2:16, they're going to grind this ball down the field if they can.
Reynolds on the play action to throw. had a man wide open, will tuck it and run instead across the 40 and is pushed out of bounds by Junior Silvestri. After a big gain via the ground, he had his man open up the right seam. Reynolds still able to get big yardage on first down, though.
There was definitely an opportunity off this right side, wide open, right up the hash mark. Unfortunately, Keenan did not see him. Had an opportunity. Still, he made a decision. That's what you've got to do. It's all about decision making, whether it's the triple option or in this particular case, trying to run that pass play off the triple option. Took the ball, ran, got himself 9 yards on first down.
It was Damon Brown who was streaking free. Here's Chris Swain pushing the pile forward for a first down. Trayvon Hester, Junior Silvestri on the tackle. 1:35 on a running clock left in this opening half. And Navy will call their first time out with 1:32 left in this second quarter. The midshipman with 195 yards on the ground on 39 rushes. Reynolds has thrown it just 3 times. He's 2 of 3 for 25 yards. Tell you what, Terrence Owens hasn't thrown it a ton for Toledo either. He's just 4 of 8.
No, and there's been a few drops along the way. Both teams have had a few penalties here and there. Now Toledo averages 7 penalties a game, so it's understandable to see that yellow flag come out and hit the field once in a while. Navy, on the other hand, got some penalties. Obviously, the turnover that converted into a touchdown. They're doing everything right from a Navy perspective other than these turnovers and a couple of penalties that have cost them, Ryan. But when you have 190-plus yards on the ground, you need to have more than 7 points up on the board. They've got to get the red zone, they've got to convert, and they've got to put the ball into the end zone. That's something that they've stumbled upon. Here now, they've got a great opportunity. Minute 32, and now Keenan Reynolds, the ball, this is on his shoulders. He's got to get the ball in the end zone.
Navy's last 2 drives ended with a fumble return for a touchdown from 68 yards by Jaron Elliott, and then a missed field goal from 38. An opportunity here. Reynolds going to pitch it to Staten. Staten has some room, a first down, and then gets dragged down at about the 21-yard line, but there's a flag down back at the 32-yard line. And Darius Staten is shaken up, hopping on one leg.
Look at block in the back. Number 61 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
This is the least penalized team in all of the FBS, but a costly penalty there.
And we've seen a few of these. We were just talking about the penalties, the turnovers. Those really have been the death nail so far for Navy. Navy ought to have a lot of points up on the board based upon how well they've run the football, but they don't. This is another example of that. Brandon Green with the holding call out of Highland, California. A nice, big offensive tackle, but you can't reach your arms out and make that play. Now it's a very, very long first down.
Staten being attended to. A 1st and 20. Reynolds to throw, has a man wide open. It's to Brandon Sanders. Sanders dashing forward and is knocked out of bounds. Just shy of that first down marker. He got almost all the yardage back from Darius Staten.
Coaches talk about this guy. When they talk about DeBrandon Sanders, they talk about what a great attitude he's got, great speed, obviously. He's only 160 pounds, but when he catches the football, it's usually for something more than 20 yards.
Copeland bullying forward, and he has a first down. Chase Murdoch on the stop.
Got plenty of time. Plenty of time on the 20-yard line with a $1:15 left. Plenty of time for this Navy offense.
And 2 timeouts as well. A 1st and 10 from the 20. Whiteside is in. So is Sanders. Reynolds to throw in the flat. Has Copeland at the 5. And Noah Copeland is in for the score.
That's the problem with the triple option. No, if one person breaks down, it's going to be a bad breakdown. Copeland wide open. All the linebackers bid up on the play. You can see the linebackers jumping on Keenan Reynolds. They expect to run. He rolls out to the outside. Copeland is wide open. Not a linebacker near him. Voss, Murdoch, Silvestri, nobody. Easy play to get into the end zone. Now they converted. Now they've got some points up on the board. 14, just about 14.
A 20-yard touchdown strike to Noah Copeland as the extra point is booted through by Nick Sloan. Just the 3rd reception of the season for Copeland. And the first one in which he finds the painted grass. But it puts Navy on top 14-10 over Toledo on a 9-play, 55-yard drive that took up 2 minutes and 46 seconds.
The thing about this is these are good linebackers, but this is the difficulty of the triple option. These linebackers, not one turned their head. That play looks like, and it's always difficult to point fingers, Junior Silvestri should have been on that back. He wasn't. They were all looking in the backfield. They're all looking at Keenan Reynolds. When he came out and rolled out to the right side, Copeland was all by himself. And again, downfield, what's happening? Those wide receivers are blocking for him. Unselfish, nice job. Aiken, Bolina, these two senior receivers, they don't catch a lot of passes. They do a great job of blocking unselfishly downfield.
You think about it, and we showed you the total yards a few moments ago, but 263 yards to 117. Navy has been able to move the football with ease. If not for that 68-yard fumble return taken to the house by Jaron Elliott, this would be a completely different game with Navy very much in control as Austin Greeby gets ready to kick deep. Reedy waiting back at his own one. Reedy coming to his right a bit, will backpedal a yard deep in the end zone and take it out. Bernard Reedy, not a lot of room on the near side, and he gets driven down just beyond the 20-yard line. 51 seconds left in the half. Now, Toledo does have timeouts. Do they try and do anything with this time?
I think you got to be aggressive. Ryan, they're going to go into halftime if they're not aggressive, down 4 points, and have been absolutely manhandled by the Navy offense all day. Their only touchdown coming, as you talked about, from a long fumble return. So they've got to get something clicking on offense. I wouldn't be surprised to see Terrence Owens get some time back there, start to look to some of these wide receivers, look to Reedy, look to Russell, try to get themselves a couple first downs and see if they can get themselves an opportunity for a field goal.
They do have 2 timeouts. They will get the ball to begin the third quarter. That's Toledo. Owens fires one in the flat. Llewellyn a few yards and out of bounds near the 30. Gain of 7. William Tweeter on the tackle.
Navy wants to keep everything in front of themselves. They're okay with that play. They'd like him to have been able to keep him in bounds, but you get 8 yards. If they continue to do that, they're going to be able to march downfield at a pretty rapid pace. Navy wants to keep it in front, but they want to keep them in bounds, keep that clock ticking.
Owens cocks and fires one to the far side. A leaping grab by Justin Olak, who is shaken up, as is Chris Johnson, and it will be incomplete. Olak did not hang on. Keep the feet in.
Sure did look like he had a great opportunity. A nice ball by Terrence Owens to the outside, but got a monster hit. I guess they're saying his feet aren't in. I'd love to see this again. Sure looked like he
held on to the football.
Yeah.
Chris Johnson came with the hit and is shaken up afterwards. Johnson, perhaps the best playmaker on that Navy defense.
See if this foot ever hits the ground because of the power of this hit from Chris Johnson. It's a great call by the refs. That foot never did come down.
Never hit the ground. No. Outstanding hit. Here's the carry to Llewellyn, who is stood up and dropped by Cody Peterson on third down. And you know what? Navy now is going to use a timeout after the third down stop.
Why not? Those great linebackers doing a great job of collapsing on the play. Cody Peterson, he's a nasty son of a gun. It looks like they got the first down.
They did get enough for the first down. So it will be a 1st and 10. Owens fires one down the center, and it's intercepted. Wave Rider picks it off at the 40-yard line.
Wave Rider. You just got to say it more and more, Ryan. That's fantastic. Terrence Owens completely overthrows this pass. Unfortunately, the read wasn't great. Throws the pass. Looked like he's almost kind of forcing the ball in there. Well covered. You can see the linebacker in front of him. Great job by DJ Sargenti, as well as Cody Peterson. All of these guys getting in front of those receivers, making it a little bit more difficult. That time, Terrence Owens forced the football. Wave Rider, very easy interception.
And with time winding down, had Wave Rider stayed on his feet, he might have given Navy a real opportunity to score here before the end of this half. As it stands, 2 timeouts for Navy, 26 seconds left in the half. Pass way out in front of Marcus Thomas, the intended receiver. Keenan Reynolds with the incompletion.
after watching that play, I think they run the ball on this next play because that was a dangerous play that could very well have turned out to be an interception for a touchdown and given the defense 2 opportunities for touchdowns in this first half. It didn't look crisp. 22 seconds left after that first play. I think they're going to run the football.
Reynolds 4 of 6 through the air in this first half. He's operating with 4 wides. Reynolds to throw again. Fire one right. This one goes through the arms of Thomas. Incomplete. And now a 3rd and 10 for Navy.
I understand why he wanted to throw on that second play. I don't know that I agree. I think that you've got yourselves a 14-10 lead. You're running the football. You're doing an outstanding job. Why give Toledo any breath going into halftime? Just run the football. Give yourself an opportunity to go in the locker room on top.
Well, here's Copeland. Slips through a couple tackles and then gets driven backwards after he made it to about the 48. And Toledo will call a timeout. With 13 seconds left in the second quarter, it would be a 4th and 2 for Navy. Ken Niumatalolo. He could gamble here.
He could
go for it.
He shouldn't. This is the problem with throwing on that second down play. This is exactly what I was thinking about. Was if you get an incompletion or if you get caught in bounds and and stop the clock, get out of bounds. That's the problem right now. 2 incompletions. 3rd down, you get a few yards. A nice run, obviously, by Copeland getting up there now for a 4th and 2. Likely you're going to punt the ball. Worst thing that could happen right now if you're Navy is to get that punt blocked. If I'm Toledo, you're going for it. I wouldn't even put a guy back in return. I'd bring all 11.
Bernard Reedy is back deep. Pablo Beltran to punt. Beltran, one of the best punters in the nation. And Navy will call a timeout, their second, with 13 seconds left in the second quarter. Navy got things started right away on a drive in which they just went 75 yards, almost exclusively on the ground, and Chris Swain punched it in from 2 to go up 7-0. Toledo responded with a field goal, and then it looked like Navy was going to go in for another score, but a Keenan Reynolds fumble was returned 68 yards by Jaron Elliott for the lone Toledo touchdown. Navy followed that up with a 38-yard missed field goal, and then finally got in the end zone again on a Noah Copeland 20-yard touchdown reception. And here they are, up 14-10 on Toledo with 13 seconds left in this half. Here's Beltran. Gets it away, a spiral-y kick that will be fielded at the 8 by Reedy. Looking to operate to his right. A flag flies in the backfield as Reedy dashes into the open field and is twisted down across the 42. But a flag down back at the 14-yard line as time runs out on this opening half.
Little block in the back there. They're going to obviously just going to go into halftime. Navy did what they wanted to do, but it almost cost them there on that last drive. Got a little bit lucky.
Look at block back, number 27 of the return team. Penalties decline. That is the end of the half. Timeout.
So Navy with a 14-10 lead on Toledo at halftime. Jaron Elliott with the big play on D for Toledo. A 68-yard return for their lone touchdown. Noah Copeland in from 20. Puts Navy on top of the half. And halftime lead over Toledo. As we welcome you inside our broadcast booth, Ryan Rucco alongside former Big Ten linebacker Pete Najarian. I'll tell you what, despite the weather, we had a pretty good-looking first half there, Pete.
We did. We certainly did. A lot of scoring and a lot of offense and some good defensive play as well. And some of that defensive play, you get an opportunity. Well, right there, Chris Swain getting that first touchdown for Navy, getting them on the board. But then the fumble, and then Jaron Elliott taking that football and returning it 68 yards for a touchdown. But then you get that swing pass out there to Copeland. He's wide open, gets himself into the end zone. Outstanding. One of the things that surprised me was the running of David Fluellen. He was outstanding. Why not give him the ball more? He only had 9 carries in the first half. He's been averaging about 24 carries per game. I think if you're coming out of the second half, you're going to want to give him the football, and that's certainly something I think Toledo's going to look for.
We'll see if they do. Second half action is coming up next. Well, plenty of emotion on and off the field here in Toledo at the Glass Bowl in Ohio on a rainy, chilly fall afternoon. The Navy midshipmen with a 14-10 lead over the Rockets of Toledo, courtesy of a 20-yard touchdown strike to Noah Copeland on their second-to-last drive of the half. Toledo, as Pete pointed out moments ago, kind of got away from the run with David Fluellen, even though 56 yards on 9 carries, better than 6 yards a carry, only those 9 carries to Fluellen, something that I know you look to change here in this second half for Toledo.
Well, I certainly would. I like the idea of giving it to some guy who's averaging 6 yards a carry. That doesn't sound like the wrong thing to do. That's exactly what Navy has done. They have been rewarding Swain, and they've been rewarding both the backs, he and Copeland, with the football, and they've done an outstanding job running it. Fluellen has done nothing wrong, done a great job running the football. You just got to get the ball to him more. Even if it's on screen plays, get him the ball.
Greeby sends it deep to Reedy, who takes it from 1.5 yards deep in his own end zone. Reedy, a little bit of a jitter at the 15, and then gets twisted around past the 20 to the 21-yard line by Brendan Clements. And so Toledo will begin from their own 21. The opening half, Terrence Owens was just 5 of 11 through an interception, just 29 yards through the air. That man, David Fluellen, 56 yards on 9 carries, a long of 23. Here's Owens with Fluellen to his left. The give is to Fluellen. Picking his way forward, driving the pile, got to the 25 before being pushed backwards. And the opening half stats saw a big disparity in rush yards. Navy with 207 of them in the opening half. Navy really outgained Toledo all around. Had 16 first downs compared to just 7 for the Rockets. Time of possession was dominated by Navy as well, keeping the ball for more than 19.5 minutes of the opening half. Owens to throw. Has a man in the flat. It's Rosenbauer, the fullback, with a first down across the 35-yard line.
If Terrence Owens is going to have more and more success, I think it starts with getting the ball to Rosenbauer, getting the ball over to Justin Olak, getting the ball to the players that people don't expect. They're looking for Reedy, they're looking for Russell. Get it to the tight end, get it to the fullback.
Here's Fluellen, slips one tackle, try to cut it back left, and wave Ryder. Ripped him forward to the 44. You know what? It's like a child on Christmas. Every time I say that name, your reaction to Wave Ryder.
I'll tell you what, there is nothing like it in all of sports, not just college or pro football or anything else, all of sports. That is just an outstanding name for that young man. Love it.
A 2nd and 3. Handoff to Fluellen. Slips through one-arm tackle, goes across midfield. And to the 49, another first down. Paul Quessenberry, an undersized defensive lineman, could not wrap up the powerful David Fluellen. Here on a 1st and 10, Fluellen driving members of that defensive line again. This time, Will Anthony went for a ride to the 45.
What you want to do right now if you're Toledo is keep giving that ball to Fluellen, not just because of the fact that he's got success. He's going to get 5, maybe 6 yards, but start to force that Navy defense to start biting on that. Get a little play action off of that. That's going to open up Reedy. That's going to open up Russell. It's going to open up those outside receivers if they can force those linebackers to start biting up inside.
A 2nd and 5 for Toledo. From inside the Navy 45. Fluellen slips a tackle in the backfield, has room to operate. Across the 30, Fluellen is loose. David Fluellen into the end zone for the score. A 45-yard touchdown run, and Toledo heeds the advice of Pete Najarian, gives the ball to David Fluellen, and watches themselves take the lead.
If you're gonna dart through a wide open hole like DJ Sargenti did, you got to make the play, Ryan. He fires through the hole, has an opportunity in the backfield, misses it. Can't get that player wrapped up. Fluellen is a tough guy. He's not going to get taken down by an arm tackle. Sargenti went in there, only got his arm on him, didn't get both arms, didn't secure him, didn't wrap him up. David Fluellen. Matt Campbell knows this guy runs this offense. David Fluellen's outstanding. Great job of breaking for the touchdown.
His 10th touchdown of the season, among the leaders in the nation in yards and touchdowns, and he gives Toledo a 17-14 lead on the opening drive of this third quarter. You may think you have David Fluellen down in the backfield. You don't want to give him a chance to run free. Fluellen scores on its opening drive of the second half and takes a 17-14 lead over Navy. Fluellen crosses the century mark for the 13th time in his career, tied for third among active running backs in the NCAA. Had 60 yards on that drive, had 56 all the first half. Here's Thomas, Marcus Thomas, across the 30-yard line. Ross Madison riding him to the ground at the 32. And that's where Navy will set up shop. Navy in that first half dominated time of possession, dominated the line of scrimmage, but a couple of costly mistakes, a fumble deep in Toledo territory that was returned for a touchdown, a missed field goal, and because of that, it was just a 4-point advantage at the half, and now it's a 3-point deficit as Navy gets the ball for the first time in this second half.
Marcus Thomas has done an outstanding job on these kick returns today as well, giving them great field position after the kickoff.
Chris Swain with a lot of room to run. And Swain up to the 49-yard line, a first down on his first carry of the third quarter.
Chris Swain, you can see here, just gets himself just positioned to the outside, right behind Braden Heap. Another guy. When you look at Navy, you don't expect size like they've got, but they've got some decent size out of South Jordan, Utah. He's 6'3", 288 pounds. He
lost his shoe, so he went to the sideline, but Noah Copeland doing just fine getting those carries as well. Junior Silvestri on the tackle. Copeland had a big first half. His first career receiving touchdown. He also was the leading rusher for Navy. Copeland at 85 yards on the afternoon on 14 carries. A 2nd and 4. Hand is to Copeland. Copeland breaks the tackle, has a first down across the 40. J-Rone Elliott taking him to the ground.
You can't wait in the hole. You have to attack as a linebacker. Trent Voss that time, very solid linebacker. He's second on the team in tackles, but that time just sat in the hole, didn't bring his legs with him, waited, and there you go. Copeland going forward for an extra 2-3 yards, getting that first down rather than stopping him and forcing a third down play.
It is a 1st and 10 from the 39. Copeland again was tripped but kept grinding forward and gains a few on first down.
Ryan, they had a bit of success. They didn't throw the ball a lot, of course, it's Navy. But talking to some of those coaches up here at halftime as they were walking past, they talked about the fact that they can throw the football. Keenan Reynolds, I asked him, would you throw the ball more? They say, yeah, but that's up to Coach Ken. Ken has to say, let's throw the football. They've had enough success running. They're going to run the football.
2nd and 7 from the 36. Pitch goes to Brown. Brown has a first down knocked out of bounds by Chaz Whitaker at the 26-yard line. As Navy continues to rotate in different members of that backfield, all of them having some success.
You can see how this option comes down the line. Obviously, he has to go right up to J-Rone Elliott, gets around him. Nice job again by Keenan Reynolds, giving the running back the ball as late as possible and forcing the defense to make decisions.
Reynolds keeps it, now pitches it. It's juggled and caught. Marcus Thomas racing across the 15-yard line, out of bounds at the 11. DeJuan Rogers able to track him down, but another Navy first down.
And again, just look at some of the blocking by the wide receivers on the outside, just giving an opportunity. It's the wide receivers, it's Brown, everybody on defense, on the offensive side of the football. They have to play unselfish. They'll get their chance to carry the ball, but if you're not carrying it, you've got to block for your partners.
A 1st and 10 from the Toledo 11. Reynolds gives to Swain, tripped forward. And a gain of a couple on first down by Chris Swain. Those fullbacks, even when they're hit or tripped, they still end up flopping forward for 3 or 4.
They got that body lean, they're going forward. This time, unfortunately, Swain wishes he could get that back. He stepped on the center's foot. That was Tanner Fleming up front. He stepped on his foot, that tripped him. And unfortunately kept him from getting into the end zone.
2nd and 7 from the 8. Reynolds to throw, looking for Copeland. Reynolds fires back across his body, a little bit low, incomplete. Casey Bellina was the intended target. Chase Murdoch on the coverage.
So what they didn't do earlier in the game was cover that running back coming out of the backfield. This time, Trent Voss, the outside linebacker, he jumps on Copeland immediately. Number 43, the linebacker. Great coverage on Copeland. That play's not there. Keenan Reynolds has to look for the secondary receiver and throws it behind him, uncatchable. Now it's a very difficult 3rd down at about 9 yards to get a first down before getting into the end zone.
It'll be a 3rd and 7 from the 8 for Navy. Reynolds with Whiteside going in motion. Handoff to Copeland. Bullies through one tackle and reaches out right near the 1-yard line. Very close to a first down.
That's a first.
With that extension, he probably got it.
I think he stretched out, he got it, and the ball, as it came down and hit the turf, that's when it sprung out, so that is not a fumble. The player was down, the ball was down. Great job of the extra effort this time, running through the tackle of Silvestri, reaching out and making sure he gets that first down.
It is a 1st and goal from the 1-yard line. They will review the play on whether or not the runner was down before the ball came loose. We'll take a look at whether or not it might have popped down from Noah Copeland before he hit the ground.
You got to love the effort of Copeland as he's exploding through the... There you go, reaching out. He's down.
Yeah.
His knees are down. He's stretching out. He's getting that arm reached out as far. Now, the spot of the ball might be different, but he's certainly down there. Looks to me like his thigh is on the ground as he's reaching out and slams that football onto the turf.
Just ran right over Junior Silvestri, who is an outstanding linebacker for Toledo. Copeland with 22
After
yards.
video review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
So a first down, 22 yards on the drive for Noah Copeland, who's the leading rusher this afternoon for Ken Niumatalolo's Navy squad. As a 1st and goal from the 1. Copeland now over the century mark, 101 yards on the game. First and goal, Reynolds. Under center, will keep it himself, plunges ahead. No indication yet. And it is a touchdown. Keenan Reynolds in for the score, and Navy, with a quick response in this 3rd, takes the lead back.
And he takes the ball right up the gut, goes right over his center, Tanner Fleming. 6'2", 275 pounds. Why not go right behind the big fella? Get yourself an opportunity to get into the end zone. You're that close. Why not take a shot? Keenan Reynolds, great job getting that ball over the end zone line.
Sloan on for the extra point, and he bangs it through. Noah Copeland with a big 3rd down pickup on a 3rd and 7, powering his way to the goal line, set up an easy score for Keenan Reynolds, pushing the pile and pushing Navy back on top of Toledo. picture battle in a season-defining matchup. Tonight, from Death Valley, freshman sensation Jameis Winston and the 5th-ranked Florida State Seminoles take on senior Taj Boyd and the 3rd-ranked Clemson Tigers. It is a must-see slugfest between top 5 undefeated ACC heavyweights. Saturday Night Football presented by Windows. Florida State versus Clemson tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. That is going to be an outstanding contest. We have a good one here in Toledo. Navy with a 21-17 lead. Noah Copeland has earned a ride on the bike after his huge 3rd down and 7 pickup from the 8. The extra effort setting up a 1st and goal, and Keenan Reynolds punching it in to cap off a 10-play, 67-yard drive and give Navy the lead back after Toledo had scored on its first possession of the second half. Here's Bernard Reedy being pushed to the far side and out of bounds right at the 20-yard line.
Ryan, that Florida State Clemson game, that should be absolutely unbelievable. A night game down at Death Valley. Jameis Winston is an absolute incredible athlete, incredible quarterback. We got Taj Boyd on the other side, along with Sammy Watkins. These are 2 of the most explosive offenses in football. You're going to see the ball in the air a lot more than we're seeing it here today. But we've got great running backs in this football game today.
Each team has been doing their damage on the ground. Toledo with 164 yards rushing. Navy with 274 yards on the ground already. Owens gives to Fluellen. Fluellen picking his way in the backfield and dives ahead for a minimal gain. Parrish gains on the stop. David Fluellen ran it in from 45 on the first drive of the 3rd quarter for Toledo. Had more yards on that drive than he had in the first half after Toledo listened to Pete Najarian and gave him the ball more.
A good chance to talk to Matt Campbell about that. No, I'm just kidding.
Here is Fluellen again. This time pushes his way across the 25. Chris Johnson on the stop. It'll be 3rd and 4 for Toledo.
I might give him a blow right now. He doesn't look like he's feeling too good after that last run, like he fell on his hand or his arm or something. Kareem Hunt did an outstanding job when he got his opportunity. But let's give some credit for the ability and what David Fluellen has done today and for his career. Zach Kieran up front, Greg Mentz up front. These are some big, strong offensive linemen that are going to be playing on Sundays, doing a great job.
3rd and 4. Owens to throw, sings one over the middle. Fluellen makes the catch in traffic. He made the catch beyond the 1st down marker before being sent back to the 29. DJ Sargenti on the tackle, but a nice 1st down grab by Fluellen.
It's not just running, but look at the pass protection right here. You do a great job. 2 of the big fellas up front, Kieran and Mance, double teaming the nose guard. Nobody even close to Terrence Owens. Makes it a much easier pass for him over the inside in the middle to Fluellen.
Here is Fluellen, finding a little crease and backing his way across the 40. Cody Peterson, Chris Johnson on the stop. Nice gain on 1st down for David Fluellen, who now will get a breather as Kareem Hunt comes into the game. Hunt with 31 yards on 4 carries in the opening half. A 2nd and 2. Dwight Macon goes in motion. Here's Owens to throw. Veering to his right. Going to tuck it and run and dives for the 1st down before being met by Will Anthony and Chris Johnson. Got down just in time.
He did get down. I'll tell you what, Chris Johnson was looking for him. Once he's outside of the tackle box in the open field, he's fair game. Nice job of collapsing, but not until he got the 1st down. Good job by Terrence Owens identifying it and making the decision right away to take that ball.
Here's the handoff to Hunt. Tried to stretch it to the far side, and Chris Johnson with the ankle tackle.
These linebackers, we talked about them. Cody Peterson being nasty in the middle. Chris Johnson running sideline to sideline. 2nd play in a row. Outstanding job. DJ Sargenti. See, DJ wants to make up for that play that he had earlier where he shot the gap, took that opportunity at Fluellen, missed the tackle, cost him 6 points. These linebackers all can run. Great job that time by Chris Johnson.
A 2nd and 11 for Toledo. Handoff up the middle. Hunt picks his way through some traffic. Veers it back left, and Hunt is loose. Kareem Hunt all the way in for the score. A 52-yard touchdown run. And Hunt puts Toledo back on top.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with having a two-back system as long as the backs both understand you're going to get your opportunities. David Fluellen and Kareem Hunt reminds me of the days of Maroney and Barber back at Minnesota. You've got two great running backs that someday might be playing on Sundays. The looks of this Kareem Hunt as a freshman, he sure looks solid. He looks a lot like David Fluellen did when he was a freshman coming in here. Outstanding job, 5'11", 200 pounds. Made it to the outside, ran through a few tacklers, got himself a touchdown.
And Jeremiah Detmer boots it through. So Toledo has scored on each of its first two drives of the third quarter. Kareem Hunt, a career-long 52-yard run, puts the Rockets on top. Line of Toledo, including Zach Karen and Greg Mance, who also have shown great support for their former teammate Ben Pike, who forgoed his senior season to be with his then fiance, now wife, who is battling cancer. And as a show of support for Ben, even though they had all long hair, you see the short hair there, they cut their hair and donated it to Locks of Love in honor of Ben's fiance, now wife. So really a great story from a couple of those offensive linemen who were in the wedding party for their former teammate.
It's a tight group, those offensive linemen. You gotta love it.
Short kick taken by Brown. Brown makes a man miss, has some room on the far side, stretching it across the 35, and rides Madison out of bounds to the 40-yard line. Another good kick return for Navy and good field position.
Regardless of the outcome of this game, one thing they've got to start working on is this kick coverage, and I'm sure Matt Campbell, the young coach, is going to want to preach this to the folks. You cannot allow teams to start at the 30, the 35, in this particular instance, all the way up to the 39-yard line. This is unacceptable. You can't give that opportunity to the offense. Once again, the 39-yard line, Keenan Reynolds is licking his chops.
It's a 1st and 10 for Navy from their own 39. Play action to throw. Reynolds under pressure, trying to evade the rush. He does, and is able to wiggle his way forward and then loses the football. But a bevy of Navy jerseys dive on it. And Keenan Reynolds is saved from his second lost fumble of the day. E.K. Binns, the left guard, able to pile on top of it.
Great job of trying to extend the play, but maybe a little too much here. A little bit overzealous trying to reach out for that extra half a yard or whatever he might be able to get. That time, very lucky for Binns to be there to be able to get on top of the football.
Reynolds' fumble in the second quarter was returned 68 yards by Jaron Elliott for a touchdown. Reynolds give up the middle. Just a couple of yards from Noah Copeland, who has rushed for more than 100 on the afternoon. His career high is 126. Copeland at 103 at the moment.
It's a great tag team of Swain and Copeland in the middle there at that fullback position in this triple option, but give a lot of credit. E.K. Binns up front, Fleming, Zuzek, Green, Heap, all of the Navy offensive line doing an outstanding job helping those backs.
A 3rd and inches. Reynolds will pitch it to Sanders, who has the first down. Tackled at midfield by Junior Silvestri. Good decision there by Reynolds, getting it to Sanders in time to scoot across the marker and keep the chains moving.
The rotation of these backs obviously helping Navy, so there's always fresh legs on the field. You look, one series or one set of plays, it's going to be Chris Swain. Then you see Copeland, then Joffrey Whiteside comes in, then Staton, then Jenkins, then Sanders. There's a whole 5, 6, 7 guys that continue to rotate in.
Reynolds gives the handoff up the middle to Copeland. Fights through a couple of tackles to the 45. Noah Copeland with a gain of 5 on first down. 3:40 to go in the third quarter. Toledo with a 24-21 lead on Navy. 4th time these teams have met in their history. Toledo has won 2 of the previous 3 meetings. First time they've met since 2001. Reynolds going to keep it himself. Dives to about the 41.5. Trent Voss on the stop. And it will be 3rd and 1 for Navy.
Keenan would love to have had that play back because that time he misread the nose guard. Fleming beat the nose guard blocking on that play. Chris Swain had a great opportunity for an 8-10 yard gain. He kept the ball, Keenan Reynolds. Now you've got a short 3rd and 1.
Handoff up the middle. Swain twisting over bodies was met at the 40. And it is a 1st down for Navy.
And Swain hopefully gets credit for that extra yard because as he gets through the hole, watch how he's rolling. He's not on the ground if he's on top of bodies. He's not on top of bodies. Reaches out. That ball actually should have extended past there, Ryan. It should have been about another half yard, maybe even a yard to the 39-yard line.
Instead, it is at the 40. Brown goes in motion. Reynolds to throw. Under pressure. Reynolds is going to be dropped. Ray Bush got him, along with Alan Covington.
Well, we talked about the idea that Navy could throw the football, but do they need to throw the football? Maybe they don't. They're having so much success running the football. That time, playing the play-action play, but a missed block by Swain right there in the center of the field. That really is what caused this play to happen and why Keenan Reynolds had the pressure so quick right on top of him. Nowhere to go, did the smart thing. Don't force the football. Don't get an intentional grounding. Just take this play, go to the next.
An 11-yard loss on 1st down, and it's 2nd and 21. Reynolds give up the middle. Swain, nothing. J-Rone Elliott, Alan Covington in on the stop. And Ken Niumatalolo's team with a 3rd and very long from midfield.
This is a tough play call right now for the offensive coordinator, Ivan Jasper. We haven't talked about him a lot, but he's talked about needing to finish in the red zone, needing to move the chains on 3rd down. That's what this is all about. It's about discipline, taking care of the football. Don't force the football if you're Keenan Reynolds on this play.
A 3rd and 18. Handoff to Copeland. Copeland ran over one tackle, but not Junior Silvestri. A gain of just 1, and Toledo forces a 4th and long after the big sack, a couple of stuffs, and the Rockets will get the ball back.
Well, when you're 3rd down and 20 and you're in the Naval Academy and you're not throwing the ball as consistently as everybody else is across the country, you almost have to concede, look, we're still in the 3rd quarter, we're down 24-21, no need to force it. We don't need to turn the ball over here throwing the football and give Toledo too good a field position. Let's just punt it away right here.
Pablo Beltran, one of the nation's best. Reedy waves a fair catch, and Reedy was hit. And a flag flies in as Reedy made that fair catch. He was run into.
Was he run into or blocked into? I know they put the flag down.
He might have been blocked into, you're right.
Look close.
Personal foul. Interference with the opportunity to catch the kick. Number 93, the kicking team. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
So Joe Cardona, the long snapper, called for the penalty. And once again, that is not normal for Navy. Penalties, they are best in the nation at limiting them.
That looks like a good call. It does not look like he was being blocked whatsoever. He did impede the field man from catching the football. Not a great thing, though. Down at the 16-yard line, fantastic. Now up at the 32-yard line for Toledo, fantastic. Field position just improved dramatically.
1st and 10 for Owens. 24 seconds left in the quarter. Toledo has scored on each of its first drives in this second half. Fluellen near the 40. As Toledo has committed to the ground in this 3rd quarter, and it has worked out quite nicely. Fluellen a score from 45. Hunt a score from 52. 146 yards on the ground in that 3rd quarter for Toledo. And because of that, they have a 24-21 lead on Navy. It was Kareem Hunt who broke free from 52 to put the Rockets on top as we head to the 4th. Big one at Talladega Super Speedway. Only 5 races left. Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson are still out in front, but anything can happen. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Talladega, presented by 5 Hour Energy, Sunday at 1 Eastern on ESPN. A 2nd and 3 for Toledo from their own 39 as we begin the 4th quarter. The Rockets in front by 3 after scoring on each of their 2 third-quarter drives. David Fluellen accounted for one of those, and here he accounts for 10 yards, tumbling forward to the 50-yard line. DJ Sargenti bringing him down.
Well, the first half, Fluellen was not stopped. He got 6 yards a carry. Now in the second half, they're feeding him the football. They understand exactly what's going on right now. He and Kareem Hunt are a great dynamic duo back there. Great job by the big man up front. All 5 exploding and opening up monstrous holes.
Fluellen has 91 yards rushing in this second half. Whew. Had 56 in the first. And here gets another carry, darts off the left side of the line, runs over Wave Rider, and then gets twisted backwards. And that looked ugly on the legs of David Fluellen.
A powerful run that time by David Fluellen. An outstanding job coming up. Wave Rider trying to make that tackle. Bounced right off of Fluellen. Fluellen then bounces to the outside trying to make a few extra yards. Knee gets caught up. Just not a good looking injury.
That did not look good at all. Bent backwards, and Matt Campbell was furious with the tackle when darting onto the field himself. Ooh. DJ Sargenti just bending him backwards. Hopefully David Fluellen is okay, being attended to on the 45-yard line. We'll step aside here in the 4th quarter. Well, David Fluellen, who went down very awkwardly, going to be carted away after being cut down, bent backwards on that last run as we take another look. That extra grab across the head, twisting backwards from Sargenti, was what had Toledo head coach Matt Campbell ready to storm onto the field. Fluellen, 153 yards and a touchdown today. Instead, the responsibilities fall to Kareem Hunt now as he takes the handoff. You know, with Fluellen, who has pro prospects, who's one of the best running backs in the country, the one good sign would be he didn't immediately reach for either knee. There wasn't that reaction that you do often see when it comes to a torn ligament. Now, what exactly is wrong with him, who knows, but that, at least to the eye, the way it usually happens when an injury like that goes down, we didn't see that. That could be a good sign as Rosenbauer charges ahead for a first down.
I totally agree with you, Ryan. It didn't look, fortunately, because at first it looked awful. And then we got look after look, and then we got an opportunity to watch David as he was reacting with the team doctors and some of the coaches. It didn't look nearly as bad a minute or two later, 3 minutes later. Obviously they put him on the cart and they want to bring him back to the locker room. Let's check him out and make sure what is wrong if there is something serious.
Toledo has rushed it 16 times, passed it just twice in this second half. Here Owens will throw. Fires one left, and Russell has it inside the 20-yard line. Alonzo Russell with one of the bigger pass plays we've seen today.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of touchdown passes this year for Terrence Owens. We're talking about coming into today with just 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But Alonzo Russell's got 2 of them and sure looked good on that play, looking the ball in and assuring the catch.
Kareem Hunt hops his way forward for a few with Jordan Drake taking him down.
When you got a nice tall quarterback at 6'4" looking downfield and a 6'4" receiver, you got a great opportunity to make a connection. Great vision that time against the much smaller Parrish Gaines. He's big, but he's only 6'2", got a long arms, great opportunity to get that ball. Alonzo Russell that time made sure he caught the ball downfield.
Neither team has taken a 2-score lead yet today. An opportunity here for Toledo. as the sun starts to shine here in Ohio. A 2nd and 7 with the ball on the Navy 16-yard line, and Terrence Owens will spend Toledo's first time out of the second half.
Ryan, when you have two backs having so much success running the football, a lot of that has to do about the running backs. A lot of it has to do about the big five guys up front doing an outstanding job.
They have set the table here in the second half. Toledo trying to punch it in and take a 2-score lead on Navy. Afternoon in college football. Number 9, UCLA, taking on number 13, Stanford, Iowa, against undefeated number 4, Ohio State. Available nationally today at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC or ESPN2. Here in Toledo, Ohio, a couple of touchdowns on their first 2 drives of the second half, and Toledo has a 3-point edge with 12:16 to go in the fourth. Here, a 2nd and 7 from the Navy 16. Kareem Hunt with the carry. Has some room off the right side. Turns the corner and is in. Kareem Hunt, for the second time today, finds the painted grass. A 16-yard touchdown run, and Toledo has its first 2-score lead.
As part of the benefit of the coaches having confidence and giving the ball earlier in the half to Kareem Hunt, now gets his opportunity. Obviously, David Fluellen with that injury, but he darts to the outside, uses that speed, uses the stiff arm, gets himself into the end zone. Outstanding job. The offensive line keeps spreading their splits wider and wider and putting Navy into a very precarious position. Great job that time by the offense of Toledo.
The extra point is good for Detmer. Kareem Hunt is now over 100 yards. He's scored twice. A 10-point lead. And you know 33-year-old head coach Matt Campbell is going to enjoy that. Navy, Kareem Hunt scoring from 16 yards out, saying thank you to all of his offensive linemen. Hunt with a career-high 104 yards, capping that 68-yard drive on 8 plays off with his second career touchdown. After David Fluellen went down on that drive with an injury, left on a cart, Kareem Hunt steps in and finishes the job. Marcus Thomas will take a knee as we take another look at that touchdown run from Kareem Hunt.
Well, Kareem Hunt stepping in for the injured David Fluellen, but an outstanding job. He faked between the guard and the tackle and then made the instantaneous decision. I'm going to take this to the outside and I'm going to bounce it. Then he used the stiff arm, gets himself into the end zone, but gosh, you got to give a lot of credit, and he did. He knows Zach Kieran up front, Greg Mance up front, Chase Nelson, the big tackle out of Edina, Minnesota up front. Those guys were staying on their blocks. They were in front of those players. The defensive Navy could not see where Kareem Hunt, when he made that move to the outside, he made it so quickly, he got out there all by himself into the end zone.
And this is where Navy can struggle a bit when they are down, because they're a team that does not throw much at all. Here, a little reverse action with some room, but then being cut down quickly by Trent Voss was Brandon Dudek, a junior wideout. Initially looked like he might have some space, but Trent Voss cut it down quickly.
Well, he had some space, but take a look. Does he look like he's trying to throw the football? Look at him looking downfield. He didn't even have the ball tucked in, so he was looking. There was no receiver downfield for him to throw the football, so there's nowhere to go.
2nd and 13, and now Reynolds gets pummeled by Allen Covington and dropped for a loss.
Momentum is an amazing thing. I mean, suddenly you start to get that offense clicking. You come out in the second half, you're running the football, you have some success. Now the defense is all jacked up. Covington, great job of blowing up that play, getting across the line of scrimmage and playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That's a killer, and now Navy's in a very uncomfortable position of 3rd down and 16.
3rd and 16 from their own 19. Navy 6 of 12 on 3rd down today. Reynolds under pressure and tripped and dropped. Jayrone Elliott got the heels of Reynolds for a 2nd straight Toledo sack, and Navy will be forced to punt.
Jaron Reynolds had that great play early in the game. He scooped up the ball and took it 58 yards for a touchdown. But this is a guy who last year had 6 sacks, had 7 tackles for a loss. This year, again, very aggressive, playing on the other side of the football. That time, add another sack. He has 5 sacks coming into today, 35 tackles, plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and again, showing us exactly why. He's explosive. He's not big, but he's explosive.
Pablo Beltran kicking out of his own end zone. A wobbler that will take a sideways bounce at the 46 and be touched up there by Clemens.
Tonight, the Florida State Seminoles will enter Death Valley in an epic showdown under the lights to take on the Clemson Tigers with ACC and BCS title implications on the line. Florida State, Clemson, tonight, 8 Eastern on ABC.
That is an outstanding Saturday night to look forward to. Here in Toledo, Matt Campbell loves what he's seen in this second half. The Rockets have erased a 4-point halftime deficit, lead by 10, and are set up here at the Navy 46. Here's Hunt again. Hunt wiggling forward and is able to dive ahead to the 40-yard line. Wave Rider on the stop.
Toledo now is able to do what Navy normally does. There's grinding the football. They're power running the football. Between the tackles, if it's there and they can bounce to the outside, fantastic. Kareem Hunt already showed us that on the last touchdown. But he and David Fluellen this second half have gotten the football. They've been running between the tackles. They're getting 6, 8, 10. Kareem Hunt now averaging 12 yards a carry.
Owens on a 2nd and 4 will keep it himself, but Jordan Drake able to wrap him down right at the line of scrimmage, and it'll set up 3rd down. Big stop necessary here for Navy, who usually scores methodically, using a lot of clock as they pick their way down the field on the ground. And with just 9 minutes and change left, can't really afford to fall behind any further or let too much clock wind. So a key 3rd down here for Toledo. With 3 wides to the right, Reedy is the lone receiver to the left. Now Hunt will join him. Empty backfield. Owens fires one in traffic, and Drake was all over Kareem Hunt. Incomplete. It'll be 4th and 4.
I don't like the play call on that particular play because I think what you want to do is get yourself, keep a back in the backfield, give a little extra protection if you need it for Terrence Owens. Make it an easier throw. If you got the big 5 up front, Terrence Owens helping out, and then I'd be looking for Alonzo Russell. He has shown us in the second half that he's going to look that ball in. He's going to put both hands on it. And at 6'4", I like that big body against the smaller players on the Navy secondary.
Vince Penza on to kick. Sean Lynch back at the 10, so Navy will get it right back. As a delay of game.
Delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Will push Toledo back 5 yards further, so a little bit more room to operate for Penza, whose first punt traveled just 15 yards.
If it did. They said it did.
Here's Penza. This one's a much better looking kick. Angled high and bounces at the 6. It'll be down inside the 5. Well done in redemption for Vince Penza, as Toledo covers the punt beautifully. Cameron Cole was there to touch it up, a 41-yard punt, and Navy will have 96 yards to go to find the end zone.
They've really got them get themselves together. They're obviously deep into their own territory, but great job that time by the punt coverage team, and that's why that delay of time penalty was not that big of a deal. They wanted to push back. They wanted to give the punter a little bit of room to try to drop the ball inside the 20. Now they're inside the 5.
He was very close to whether or not Cole was on the goal line as he was making contact, but he got back in and established himself on the field before he touched the football.
Yep.
As we take another look. Right foot down, and then the touch-up from Cameron Cole. 2nd and 10. Reynolds trying to cut it back right, and this Toledo defense has been tough in this second half. Keenan Reynolds is looking at a much different scene than what he saw in the first when Navy was moving the ball with ease.
It's amazing how that momentum shift, when it starts to happen, you can almost just feel it throughout the entire stadium. Keenan Reynolds that time, the defense is playing far more aggressive. They've obviously made a few adjustments where they want to be on much more of an attack mode. They are playing on the other side of the football. They didn't do that in the first half. They've definitely executed much better in the second half.
A 3rd and 6 for Navy. Reynolds give up the middle. Copeland shook a defender, dove ahead, and is close to the first down marker. It will be 4th and a yard. The Navy forced to go for it. Keenan Reynolds tried to quickly snap it, but a timeout taken just in time by Toledo head coach Matt Campbell.
Great awareness that time by Coach Campbell. 33 years old, he might be young, but he certainly is sharp enough to know, hey look, let's get that timeout called, give my defense an opportunity to be set up. Let's not just hand them that first down on this 4th down. Navy was very smart. They got up to the line of scrimmage. Let's get this thing, let's get it quick, and let's get that first down. This time with the timeout. Now they've got a little chance to prepare. Navy's going to maybe think about this. Do they punt? 7 minutes to go. They almost have to go for it.
They have to go for it, probably. You're right, Pete. How about the job, though, that Matt Campbell's defense has done for Toledo in this second half? Navy was moving the ball with ease in the first half.
Right, and some of it's play calling, some of it's missed assignments, but they've done an outstanding job of attacking, getting to the other side of the line of scrimmage. You can see it. You've got 2 sacks that we're watching right in front of us, and the aggressive play of Allen Covington playing on the other side of the football, along with Jaron Elliott. Just an outstanding job of both defensive ends, forcing the quarterback to be in an uncomfortable situation, tracking him down, getting plays, and making plays.
A 4th and 1 for Navy. They're 2 of 3 on the day. Pitch right to Brandon Sanders. Has the first down to the 20-yard line. A big 4th down conversion. DeJuan Rogers finally brought him to the ground.
I'll tell you what I liked about that play. Usually on a 4th and short, I don't like going to the outside. But if you're going to do that quick pitch from Keenan Reynolds to Brandon Sanders, 5'7", 160 pounds, the kid's lightning fast. He hits the corner, got the first down.
Reynolds keeps it himself, gains 2. And then is nudged to the ground by Chase Murdoch. 6:34 left in the 4th quarter. Toledo with a 10-point lead on Navy. Rockets have taken control of this second half, and they've done it on the ground. And through an outstanding defensive effort. Reynolds, play action to throw. And just tossed it too low for Marcus Thomas, the intended receiver.
We talked about the fact that Keenan Reynolds actually can throw the ball pretty well, how well he did in high school doing exactly that in that spread option offense. But that time, that was just a misfire on his part. Bad play. I'm sure he would say the same thing. It's on me. Point towards his chest. I'd like to see them get into that spread offense that they did on the very first play of the game and give him more of a comfort zone for a 3rd and long passing situation. They got to throw the football.
He's just 4 of 9 through the air today. Reynolds will take it and pitch. Room at the 40 and to the midfield line for Marcus Thomas, where he's finally yanked out of bounds inside Toledo territory at the 46-yard line, a gain of 31 for Thomas.
Okay, maybe you don't have to throw the football, but this is an outstanding job by Keenan this time, running that triple option to the outside. Great job of waiting to the very last second to get that ball. Great pitch, great decision making that time by Keenan.
Reynolds fires one right, caught by Don Brown inside the 20. He'll be marked down at the 15.
And that's that same play we've seen earlier from Copeland, some of the rest of them, where the backs slip out of the backfield. That time it was Don Brown getting an opportunity. This time, Keenan Reynolds with a very nice pass right on the money, down the sidelines. Now you're at the 15-yard line with 5.5 minutes to go.
21-yard reception. A 1st and 10 from the 15. Reynolds will keep it and get just hammered by Trent Voss.
Well, we were talking about playing on the other side of the football. That time, Trent Voss, the outside linebacker, coming in from his spot, and a great job of forcing a play, and there's no play to be made because he got there so quick. Keenan had no reaction other than just to tuck that ball and get to the ground without fumbling it.
A 2nd down and long after a loss of a few. Reynolds to throw. Zings one over the middle, in traffic, and nearly a nifty twisting grab from DeBrandon Sanders, and a flag does fly in. Rogers was there on the coverage.
Pass interference. Number 23, the defense. Penalty results in an automatic 1st down.
Rogers gets there. It looked like he got there a little bit early, at least on the first look, but we get a second shot at it here. Definitely. You see that right arm? He dragged him and pulled him with that right arm. As soon as you get that, the ref the only reason it was late, the ref missed it the first 2 times, getting it out of his back pocket.
That's a good call, and now a 1st and goal. Reynolds keeps it himself and is into the end zone untouched. And Navy with a quick score has cut the Toledo lead to 4 with an extra point coming.
Navy got a little bit lucky, but they got some success. Obviously, that 4th down conversion was a monster play, but Keenan Reynolds doing an outstanding job. It's never easy. It's never going to be on that first time. That's why they run this over and over again. This is a team that's going to run the ball on average about 53 times per game. They've done an outstanding job. They stuck to what they do best, and he also threw the ball very nice on that drive.
Nick Sloan knocks it through. It's a 3-point Toledo lead, courtesy of Reynolds. 2nd rushing touchdown of the afternoon. Navy's not done yet. Toledo lead to 3 with under 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Keenan Reynolds, 2nd rushing touchdown of the afternoon. A 96-yard drive in 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Navy's coaching staff to a man called Toledo, the best team they will have faced yet this season. And here the midshipmen are, down 3 in the 4th, and they will need a stop as Reedy fields a short kick up at the 12. And Reedy will just take a knee at the 17-yard line.
As a turf monster looked like it
Yeah.
got him. That's what we used to call it when a guy kind of just goes down.
That turf monster came quietly.
That was
to
the
Bernard
strangest
Reedy. Sometimes the turf monster will really let you know he's there. That turf monster almost rocked Reedy to sleep.
Let's take a look at that. Almost like he buckled or something. That wasn't even a monster. That was
a decision. He would have been better off without being a monster.
I'm not sure what to tell you on that one.
Perhaps
Although
Reedy,
he's coming off the field, so maybe there is a little bit of an issue here.
but not being attended to. Odd. So real opportunity for Navy now. Toledo fielding a short kick is at their own 18-yard line.
Yeah.
That was very strange. Macon goes in motion, handoff to Hunt up the middle, working his way across the 20 to about the 21. Chris Johnson on the tackle. Navy is going to take a timeout. Or are they? Yes, they will. So a timeout after the 1st down run. Toledo with the 31-28 lead on Navy. As we take a look at some of the bigger plays we've seen from the midshipmen today.
This 4th down play, that was a snap, pitch back, great opportunity to get that 1st down deep in your own territory, get the ball out to the 20, and then the pass from Keenan Reynolds. Outstanding. Right on the money, giving himself an opportunity, and then rewards himself, takes that ball. Nice block by Copeland there, gets himself into the end zone. That was an outstanding drive from their own 4-yard line.
They did it in just 3 minutes and 38 seconds, covering 96 yards of ground. And Navy trailing by 3 here, a 2nd and 7 for Toledo from their own 21. Owens gives the handoff to Hunt, charging ahead, slips the tackle as a first down, and to the 30-yard line, Cody Peterson able to drag him down.
They just want to wind that clock now. Matt Campbell very, very satisfied. They know they can run the football. You got Hendershot on the left side at left tackle, Jeff Myers, Zach Kieran, Greg Mance, Chase Nelson, all basically 300 or more, 300-pounders. They're going to run this football and try to jam Navy, put them in a position where they don't see the ball the rest of the game.
They have more than 300 yards on the ground this afternoon. A 1st and 10 as the clock winds from the Toledo 30. Handoff Hunt. Slips one tackle, cuts it back right, and is able to twist for about 3. Jordan Drake on the stop. But instead of a loss of 1, avoided Bernard Sarah and ended up with a positive gain. And a timeout taken by Navy with 4:05 left in this 4th quarter. What do you think about the timeout strategy here from Ken Niumatalolo?
Feels like it's a little bit early.
Yeah.
I don't know if they know they got to get the ball back. There's 4 minutes to play in this football game. I like the strategy better of waiting maybe towards hopefully putting them in a 3rd down position, then start to use some of these timeouts. But the senior leadership of Terrence Owens really showing through there. When I looked at that clock, it was down to about 2 seconds left on the play clock before he actually snapped the football. I know he's looking right at it. It's right down in the end zone, right above the D in Toledo, and he's staring right at that, trying to work this clock as much as they can. You've got a very experienced quarterback, extremely experienced offensive line, multiple players up front who've had 13 starts, 15 starts, guys who've been in these type of positions before. He just wants to lean on them, give the ball to his running backs. Kareem Hunt's just got to make sure he holds on to that football.
2nd down and 7. Owens gives the handoff to Hunt, backing his way forward for a few, still pushing and fighting, and gets to about the 34 or so. William Tweeter in on the stop. That will set up a crucial 3rd down. A 3rd and about 5 for Toledo, protecting a 3-point lead with 3:38 left in the 4th, and now a flag flies.
Substitution infraction. 12 players in formation on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Oh, that is a big penalty.
Man.
Instead of a manageable 3rd and medium yardage, Matt Campbell's team gets flagged for having 12 men, and instead it will be 3rd and 10, even a little more so. Navy with 1 timeout left, trying to get off the field and give their offense a chance. Toledo is 5 of 9 on 3rd downs today. 4 wides, 2 to either side for Owens to throw. Has time, a beautiful pocket. Owens zings one left, and it is tipped and knocked incomplete. Parrish gains on the good coverage of Alonzo Russell.
I was just giving Terrence Owens a lot of credit. At that time, that was a dangerous pass. Nobody was there. The defensive Navy did an absolute outstanding job of being in coverage. All the receivers were covered. There was nowhere to go. Terrence Owens should have chosen to throw that ball out of bounds, or at least way to the outside onto the sidelines. Maybe you catch the ball, or at least if you don't catch it, it doesn't go up for an interception.
A low spirally kick and a flag down after it, as this one's fielded by Lynch. He's out of bounds at the 35. Vince Penza was run into. And that's where the flag was dropped. As you see, John McDade informing the Toledo sideline of the penalty, and if they want to accept it or not.
Kicker. On the receiving team, penalties decline, 1st down.
So happy with the result of the punt. Matt Campbell's team will decline that penalty.
It's a little surprising
Yeah.
with the return and the fact that he was able to catch the ball, get the return, get it to the 35-yard line. I'm a little surprised you wouldn't want to take it. Even though it's 5, you're not going to get a first down on it. Still going to punt the ball, but maybe that punt is a better punt, pins them back a little bit further.
So an opportunity for Navy, who really looked as if they had completely seized control of this game to Toledo. Instead, after trailing by 10, a 96-yard drive in 3.5 minutes, a big stop of the Rockets, and 3 minutes, 1 timeout, and the ball at their own 35. Here's Reynolds pitching to Sanders for a couple, and he's out of bounds after a minimal gain.
Ryan, we got the folks from the engineering group right next to me from Toledo here in their private box. They're shaking their heads at that decision on why didn't you take that penalty and get that ball again. So I trust my engineering friends next door that they're right, and I think we're right that you would have wanted to take that penalty and get another shot to punt the ball.
Yeah. Pretty decent field position for Navy. 2nd and 8 from their own 37. Handoff up the middle. Copeland breaking free at the 45 and tumbles ahead. A first down. DeJuan Rogers finally was able to bring Copeland down.
And look at how quick Navy is. They're up on the ball. They're ready to make this next play. Stopped at 2:35. Now the clock's running again. Got to move quick.
Reynolds under center with a pitch to Brandon Sanders. Works it across midfield. Chase Murdoch on the stop. Noah Copeland, meanwhile, topped his career-high rushing total.
Seen a lot of that today.
There has been plenty of running. Each team over 300 yards on the ground. Woo. Here's Copeland again with room, carrying defenders. And another first down on the ground for Navy as they take it to the 41-yard line of Toledo.
So Kareem Hunt's over 100. David Fluellen well over 100. And now you got Copeland well over 100. This has been an absolutely amazing job by these running backs today.
Here's the pitch to Thomas, trying to get the edge, and an excellent tackle by Trent Voss, who is now down holding on to his wrist. And the clock will stop as Voss is down in pain. Maybe it's that elbow grabbing the left arm.
It's a great play that time by Voss, but unfortunately, as he was swinging his arm to try to grab the running back that time, looks like he somehow banged it pretty hard. I don't know. Let's hope it's nothing serious, but he certainly is. Looks like he's in a lot of pain. Here, you take a look at it. Looks like he landed on his own arm.
Yes, I think he landed on it and twisted over it with his own weight.
Yep.
That was a big tackle, too, because Marcus Thomas, who has speed, was trying to get the edge. Instead, the clock stops here with 1:40 left in this fourth quarter. Navy trailing by 3. They have time to plod their way on the ground, right, Pete?
Absolutely. They still can run the football. I'd like to see them mix in a pass here or there because they've had some success. They've done a nice job with that. Maybe the backs coming out of the backfield. Obviously, we've seen Copeland do it. But I'll tell you what, this game, you're starting to get a little bit nervous for Toledo. This is a very good football team. They've lost Fluellen. We don't know exactly what the status is there. And now with Trent Voss sitting on the field, your starting running back, your starting linebacker, both very productive on your football team. You really can't afford too many injuries like this.
Yeah, take another look at Voss and where exactly he might have hurt the arm on that tackle of Marcus Thomas. You see him
rolls right on top.
Yeah, get that arm right against the turf, and then his body weight will curl right under it. And you could just see it in an awkward position as he starts to roll back over. And so concerned Toledo fans will watch the cart come out for Trent Voss. As you mentioned, David Fluellen, the all-MAC running back, a Doak Walker candidate, has already been carted off here today after he was stopped and tugged backwards while on his knees. Fluellen was having a productive day, as is usually the case, 153 yards on 19 carries. He had to be carted off. Kareem Hunt has done a nice job in his absence. Now we'll see if Toledo can have somebody step up for the very active Trent Voss on a key drive here with Toledo protecting a 3-point lead.
You feel bad in the way that arm just sort of was limp as he came rolling back over after he'd first landed on it. Not particularly a very encouraging sign, and this guy is an extremely active player. He's the second leading tackler on the team coming in today. He's got 3.5 tackles for a loss. Very active. This defense in the second half has played outstanding until that last drive by Navy to get down there and push all the way down on a 96-yard, very determined drive to get that touchdown. The defense from Toledo has really stepped up in the second half after being run over in the first half, but sad to see Voss getting carted off again.
Shaking his head as he's attended to by the medical staff of Toledo. Voss trying to get the crowd going, get them fired up for a stop. It'll be second down and 9 for Navy from inside the Toledo 40. With a minute 35 to go. Handoff up the middle, it's Copeland to the 36, but no more.
We're under a minute 30, so it's got to be hurry up time right now.
And a key third down for Navy. Call it 3rd and 5. Copeland charging ahead, pushing the pile, and it looks like he got beyond the first down marker inside that 31. It should be a Navy first down, and it is, with the clock continuing to wind and Navy trailing Toledo by 3. 1:10 left in the fourth, and a 1st and 10 from inside the Toledo 31. Reynolds fakes the pitch to throw. Reynolds zings it over the middle and too tall for his intended target. Matt Aiken went skying to grab it. Here's where things get interesting for Navy. This is a team who moves the ball almost exclusively on the ground. As the clock continues to wind, perhaps they will have to go to the air.
And when they go to the air, he's been pressured all day on the occasional shots they've taken. They've got to somehow up front, they've got to protect him much better. Keenan Reynolds has got to have vision down the field and some time. He had no time that time to set his feet. That ball sailed on him. Unfortunately, Matt Aiken could not come down with the football.
A 2nd down and 10 from the 30. Handoff Copeland trying the left side and backs his way for 4. It'll set up 3rd down. Chase Murdoch on the tackle. 50 seconds left in this fourth. Navy with 1 timeout. Clock continuing to wind. A huge 3rd down and 6. And a timeout taken by Matt Campbell's Toledo squad. That will be their final timeout. So 36 seconds left in the fourth. Toledo with the 3-point lead on Navy. A 3rd down and 5 from inside the 26-yard line of the Rockets. The career long for Navy's kicker Nick Sloan is 41. His season long is 33.
He had the missed kick earlier today as well. That was a relatively short shot. 38 yards and missed that, but you wonder, are they looking to get the first down here? Probably. Or do they feel comfortable enough with him to be able to kick that ball? 36 seconds left on the clock.
It's a 3rd and 5. Navy is very active in going for it on 4th downs. Because this is up against his career long, the possibility exists of 4 downs being used by Navy. That depends on this 3rd and 5 with 36 seconds left in the fourth. Reynolds taking it himself. Reynolds slips ahead with the first down across the 20-yard line.
Great decision that time by Keenan Reynolds. Once again, he's only a sophomore, plays like a senior. Great decision. Got himself into a position to make that first down. 28 seconds, 1st and 10 from the 20.
And Navy has 1 timeout remaining. Reynolds under center. Reynolds will spike it with 25 seconds left in the fourth.
Some decisions in front of him now. what type of plays do they want to play? Are they going to play for the field goal? Or are they playing to get into the end zone? You only got 25 ticks of the clock left. Now it's very interesting, and obviously stopping the clock with that spike, but now it gives them a chance to regroup and make those decisions now. The coach is talking about it, I'm sure. What type of play calls do we play on this second down?
With 25 seconds left and 1 timeout. Brown, Thomas, as well as Copeland in the backfield with Reynolds. Reynolds, play action to throw. Fires one left over the leaping stretched arms of Sean Lynch, incomplete. Cheatham Norrells on the coverage, and 20 seconds remaining. It'll be 3rd and 10 for Navy.
Nice coverage that time by Norrells to the outside. Keenan Reynolds just did not step into this properly. The ball sailed on him. You see how high that was, well over his head. He actually had an opportunity on the inside had the ball been thrown differently, but Keenan Reynolds, obviously, it's 3rd down. You've only got 20 seconds. Let's remember, he's only a sophomore, so this is a young quarterback, but he's a winning quarterback. Comes into today, 9-4 as a starter. This kid's a winner. He's going to be looking for the end zone.
He's just 5 of 12 through the air. Navy does have 1 timeout. 20 seconds left in the 4th. Toledo by 3. And now a delay of game as the clock wound down.
Wow.
And that was a costly 5 yards for Navy. It'll be a 3rd and 15. And now, if Navy was to not gain another yard, they'd be asking Nick Sloan to kick a career-long 42-yarder in order to tie this. Perhaps they run and try and get it a bit closer for Sloan since they have the 1 timeout. Handoff is to Copeland, charging forward for just a couple. As the clock winds down, and Ken Niumatalolo will take his final timeout. And it will be up to Nick Sloan to try and tie this game with 3 seconds remaining. Sloan will have a kick from about 40.
Wow, that delay of game really stands out. That just is unexplainable, unfortunately, because the play before, the pass over the head of the receiver, understandable. Let's get back, let's regroup. You've got plenty of time, 25 seconds. Let's get to the next play. The fact they didn't even get up barely to the line of scrimmage to have that play under center, just unexplainable, Ryan. And the fact they move it back 5 yards, you only get a couple of yards on that last play. This is a tough kick for Sloan.
He missed from 38 earlier today. This one will be from just inside 40. You take a look at his miss earlier, which was also from the left hash, and he hooked it. This one will come from the left hash as well. It will either be overtime or a Toledo win. Sloan's kick has plenty of leg, and it is good. Nick Sloan connects from 40 yards and sends this game into overtime.
Sloan kicked that ball with a little bit of ice in those veins that time. You know, when you looked at that 38-yarder that he missed earlier, he hooked it to the left, but that had plenty of legs, so distance was not the problem for this kick. Obviously, the pressure on this second one knocked it right between the uprights. Outstanding job by that young man. A lot of pressure on him from that side of the game. Look at that, just beautiful.
Take a look at the reaction from that Navy sideline on the made kick. And it's a little different story for the Toledo Rockets, who had a 10-point lead midway through the 4th quarter and gave up a 96-yard touchdown drive, and then a game-tying field goal right there from Nick Sloan. Remember, his career long was only 41. That was just about testing it. And Navy and Toledo go to overtime.
As disappointing as it was for the sideline of Toledo, though, you saw immediately the reaction from Matt Campbell. Started clapping his hands together and saying, hey guys, the game's not over, it's just tied. Now we're going into overtime. Keep your heads up. We got to keep our heads in this game. Now let's make sure that we put this game away. Obviously the pressure's on both sides of the ball. Now we get the coin flip. This could be pretty interesting. Both teams have run the ball extremely effectively today. Navy has struggled throwing the ball. It's going to be interesting to see exactly some of the play calling that we see as we get into this overtime.
The advantage at kicker in this overtime, even with Sloan having hit that, would be to Toledo. Jeremiah Detmer, an outstanding field goal kicker. As you hear John McDade explaining the overtime rules.
We're going to play the first overtime period. Here's my coin again. Heads, tails. I'm going to flip it in the air and I'm going to let it hit the ground. Visitors will call the toss. Tails. Tails he calls. And it is tails. Davey, you've won the toss. You've elected to go on defense first. What end of the stadium you put it? Navy has won the toss and elected to go on defense first. We'll play the first overtime period in the north end zone.
All right, so Navy will be on D first. Matt Campbell's team will get the football. They are without their star running back, David Fluellen, who left with an injury early in the fourth quarter. Kareem Hunt has done a nice job in place of him, 127 yards on 14 carries, but obviously Fluellen's services will be missed here in these red zone situations.
Absolutely, and now you're talking about going from a senior running back who's been outstanding for his career to a freshman who's been outstanding today, but he's a freshman. Does he make any freshman mistakes? Does he hold on to the football? How's that going to affect him going into this overtime game? So there's a lot to be said for what kind of plays you want to call, who you're going to have the ball, whose hands is going to have the ball. It's going to be very interesting. The play calling from Matt Campbell, Jason Candle, the first-year offensive coordinator. There's going to be a lot of thought going into these plays.
So Toledo gets the ball first at the Navy 25. Hunt is the running back standing to the left of Owens. The first overtime. He's underway with a handoff to Hunt, who is cut down by Chris Johnson right at the line of scrimmage. Johnson came free, and we've been calling his name plenty today.
I'll tell you what, Navy said we're going all out. This is going to be a run. Those linebackers were coming upfield practically before the snap. Outstanding job, basically reading what are they going to do. They're giving the ball to Hunt. We're going to bring everybody, all 7 against your 5. We're going to win that battle.
So the officials clearing up the play clock.
Watch
we
this
take
play.
another look.
C-53 coming through right there. That's Cody Peterson. He's the guy they call nasty. He's the co-captain. He shot that gap and made that decision before the snap of the ball. All out blitz by the linebackers.
A 2nd and 10 now for Toledo. At the Navy 25. Rosenbauer sets up on the right side. Owens under pressure. Found Reedy, but Reedy just dropped it at the 10-yard line. He hit Reedy in the hands on a dead sprint for the end zone, and we have seen quite a few drops this afternoon.
And the linebacker, look at the pressure coming right up the middle from DJ Sargenti, and yet Terrence Owens puts it right where he has to put it. Bernard Reedy's got to make that play. You can't drop the ball. We saw drops earlier in the day from Bernard Reedy, from Alonzo Russell. Russell's been catching the ball. Reedy on that drop, that's a very costly drop. Puts him in a tough decision now, 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10 from the 25. 4 wides, 2 to either side, and they are having all kinds of issues with the clock. There's John McDade now signals to the
play
Navy
clock will
sideline.
now be kept on the field by the back judge.
So the back judge is going to keep the play clock on the field.
Makes it a little tougher.
It'll be a big 3rd down and 10 on the first possession of this first overtime. Toledo's possession. Owens fires one in the flat. Hunt on a sprint at the 30. Gets thrown forward about a yard shy of the first down marker by Lonnie Richardson. And now a 4th and 1. What do you do here if you're Toledo?
If you're Matt Campbell right now, you're wishing he would have got a little bit closer to make this a much easier play, but he's got to make a decision. Does he kick it and then depend on his defense to stop? Looks like that's the decision he's going to make, but I'll tell you what, it's not as easy as it sounds. Right now, at a 4th and 1, you'd actually consider going for it.
Detmer has hit 29 of his last 30 field goals.
He wants to think about it.
Yeah. Think about it, he will. Matt Campbell going to mull it over. I'm sure there's plenty of confidence in Jeremiah Detmer to hit the field goal.
Yep.
But is there confidence to keep Navy out of the end zone after they get their possession starting at the Toledo 25?
And that's why when Navy won the toss, that's why they wanted to go on defense. They want to put the pressure on the decision-making onto Toledo, and it's exactly where it is right now. Matt Campbell, Jason Candle, the offensive coordinator, these guys got to make this decision. Are we going to go for the jugular, or are we just going to kick this field goal and now put the pressure on our defense to keep Navy out of the end zone?
And perhaps the decision made more complicated by not having David Fluellen, the outstanding running back for Toledo, who has the size where you feel very confident with him having to get a yard, even if it is a long one, as it appears to be here.
I did love that 3rd down call, though. I was thinking, where do I want to go with the football right now? My 2 choices would have been, I'm going to look for Alonzo Russell, or I'm going to look for the back out of the backfield, and that's Kareem Hunt. They went to Hunt. He almost got the first down.
They're going to go for it here. The offense trots out on the field. It's Damian Jones-Moore, the redshirt freshman, standing to the right of the quarterback Owens on a 4th and a long one. Gutsy decision here from Matt Campbell. Owens takes the snap, gives to Jones-Moore, has the first down. Inside the 15, down to the 11. Lonnie Richardson finally with the stop. A big first down and an injury now on the far side. That is Alonzo Russell, who is down in pain for Toledo, who has already endured their share of injuries today. We've seen Trent Voss, the starting outside linebacker, carted off. The same for David Fluellen, the outstanding All-MAC running back. And now Alonzo Russell, who along with Bernard Reedy, one of the top 2 receivers on this Toledo team, in pain as he's attended to on the 10-yard line. We hadn't seen a lot of Damian Jones-Moore today, but he gets that carry and turns it into a big first down, and Matt Campbell elected to go for it instead of attempting the short field goal, and now he has a chance to still put it in the end zone, as that's a good sign with Russell being helped to his feet and sprinting off.
And you see at the top of the screen, you get an opportunity to see Russell. As he spun there, it looked like he probably awkwardly must have twisted his body. Didn't feel very comfortable about it, but the way he got up and was able to run off the field, outstanding job. It looks like he's going to be able to play, but you look at the running there. Gutsy call, but I think it's a call you got to make. You're at home. Go for the jugular. It's 4th and 1. You can't just go with a field goal. You've got to go for the score. That's what they're going to go for now.
So it'll be a 1st and 10 for Toledo. They got the ball first here in this opening overtime after Navy elected to begin on defense. A 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Owens with Jones-Moore still in there to his right. Play clock is at 10. Moore switches over to the left side. Here's Reedy in motion. Handoff, Jones-Moore. Met by Peterson. Ball came loose.
Wow. They're saying he's down.
And they will say he was down. Jones-Moore lost the football. Jordan Drake was there. We'll take another look. And yes, he was absolutely down.
Yep.
No question. So a 2nd down now. And 7 for Jones-Moore. Owens with 3 wides to the left. Now will hastily bark and change. Owens gives to Jones-Moore, bouncing it out to the right, trying to keep his footing, but could not. And that's going to be a loss of a yard, and will set up 3rd and long. 3rd and 8 from the 9 of Navy.
But great balance almost that time by Jones-Moore. Great spin to the outside, just about caught himself, couldn't quite do it. but the penetration of the Navy defense that time, getting across the football, getting into his face, knocking him enough that he wasn't able to get his balance back. Now they're in a very difficult third. They can still get a first down, but it's a long third down.
3rd and 8. 4 wides, 2 to either side. Jones Moore's the back. Owens to throw over the middle, has Reedy twisting through tackles, and then is stood up and stopped at the 1-yard line. Jordan Drake on the tackle. That is right at the first down marker, and it is a first down for Toledo.
They're moving quick. Look at them. They want to get this. They want to get them into a very uncomfortable spot for the Navy defense.
A 1st and goal from the 1. Jones Moore on the carry, banged into the end zone, touchdown.
And if you're going to give the ball to a running back in the backfield, it's not Kareem Hunt, it's not David Fluellen. You give it to Jones. Take a look at who he's running behind. Greg Mentz and Chase Nelson. Chase Nelson, 65. He's 6'8", 335 pounds. He collapsed that right side of the line. Jones Moore is able to walk right into the end zone.
Jones Moore scores from 1. Detmer on the extra point boots it through. And it's a touchdown on the possession in the first overtime for Toledo. A 38-31 lead. The 4th down decision, Matt Campbell had sent out his kicker Jeremiah Detmer on a 4th and a long one from the 16, and instead elected to go for it. Jones Moore picked up the first down and eventually scores from 1. And Toledo with the touchdown edge as Navy will get the ball.
This 4th down play, not a difficult play call. They decided they were going to go for it. They wanted that little bit of extra time. They got it. And that time you get a chance to see Jones Moore running to the left side of the line. But on the touchdown, they want to go to the right side. They want to go where the size is. Chase Nelson, Greg Mentz is able to get himself into the end zone fairly easily on a 1st and 1 going into the end zone.
So now Navy, who did such a nice job, trailing by 10 midway through the 4th to tie it and send it to overtime, will have their crack in this first overtime. Needing a touchdown. Reynolds moving right, pitches to Sanders. So much space across the 15 and out of bounds at the 13. DeJuan Rogers ran him out, but 12 yards before he was touched, and a first down for Navy.
To Brandon Sanders that time, getting a great block to the outside, cuts inside of it, was able to dart upfield. But you look at this triple option, this is why this is so difficult. Look at number 26, great block on the corner, able to get to the outside, inside, cut it to the outside to Brandon Sanders using that speed to get a first down.
Nice block from Marcus Thomas indeed. Now a 1st and 10 from the 13. Reynolds kept it and was dropped. Allen Covington has been very active in the backfield in this second half, and Reynolds taken for a loss.
Well, you said it all. Covington in the second half has been extremely active. They weren't in the first, but he got through there so quick. He got the arm that time of Keenan Reynolds. The ball almost popped out. We've seen that once today. That would have been number 2 for Keenan Reynolds.
A 2nd and 13 for Reynolds under center. Reynolds moving left, pitches to Sanders. Sanders tripped up inside the 10 by Chase Murdoch, who just got him by the heels. Otherwise, Sanders might have had the end zone.
But great blocking once again. We talk about how unselfish these blockers are on the outside, but whether it's Matt Aiken, Casey Bellina, he's getting help from everybody. Copeland's out there. He's getting blocks, gives himself an opportunity. Now it's a 3rd down. Obviously, there's a lot of decisions to be made, but they've got to go for it, so it's 2-down territory.
Navy needs the end zone, trailing by 7 in this first overtime. Reynolds will pitch it to Whiteside, moving off the right side, and he has the first down at the 2-yard line. Joffrey Whiteside was finally tripped up by DeJuan Rogers. Whiteside had missed the last 3 games for Navy, but he is their number 1 slot back. Comes up with a big gain here.
I like that quick toss, and then of course you've got a big offensive lineman, Brandon Green, out in front blocking for you along with the rest of the running backs. Nice job, and Joffrey Whiteside does not look like he's coming off injury. He looks fantastic.
1st and goal. Reynolds will keep it himself, charging forward and stop shy of the goal line. J-Rone Elliott on the stop. It'll be 2nd and goal for Navy, needing a touchdown after Toledo scored on their possession of this first overtime. We are in OT, courtesy of a 40-yard Nick Sloan field goal for Navy as regulation expired. Reynolds keeps it himself, plunges ahead, and Keenan Reynolds.
Sure looked like he broke it, but
It did, no indication yet. Reynolds will be stopped shy.
there's a lot going on underneath that pile, Ryan. And I think some of those players are doing a little pushing and shoving, and it seemed to me like Reynolds got across, but then by the time they were able to separate that pile, maybe he didn't. Maybe they were able to pull him back, but his body's across. His pants are at the goal line there at that time. He's across.
Reynolds will try it again. Still no indication, but this time, he got in.
He's in.
Keenan Reynolds with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the afternoon. And this one brings Navy within an extra point of tying up Toledo. And a 2nd OT, but we'll check the flag.
A substitution infraction on the defense. 12 men into the play. The penalties decline. Touchdown's good.
So nothing fancy here from Ken Niumatalolo. Instead, it'll be Nick Sloan on for the extra point to try and send this to a 2nd overtime. Snap good, so is the spot, and Sloan sneaks it inside the right upright. And a 2nd overtime is coming. A touchdown apiece for Navy as well as Toledo. And a 2nd overtime is coming. We have a good one here in Toledo, Ohio. 2nd overtime is up next. Last bowl in Toledo. Navy and Toledo each with a touchdown in the first overtime. The Rockets of Toledo operating without David Fluellen in OT thanks to this injury here, where he just got twisted backwards by Cody Peterson. But in his absence, Kareem Hunt, Damian Jones-Moore, they've gotten the job done, Pete.
They certainly have, and again, we talked about it earlier, but we can't say enough about that offensive line and what they've been able to do, some of the holes they've been able to open up, but outstanding job by the backs as well. When you've got this many backs getting over 100 yards, there's a lot of people that you've got to give credit to.
Noah Copeland gets the carry, muscling forward and gets about 4. Navy will begin the 2nd overtime with possession after they elected to be defense in the first. Try and follow up the touchdown that forced the 2nd overtime with another here. Copeland's had a career day on the ground. Here Reynolds will take it and pitch to Thomas. Thomas cuts it back left and gets flipped forward. A 1st down as he got to the 15-yard line. Another tackle for DeJuan Rogers.
Just great execution once again to this triple option, but look at the blocking out in front. Nice job. I'm surprised he didn't cut it up a little bit sooner, but what they want is the 1st down. He got that 1st down. 1st and 10.
1st and 10 is Reynolds taking it to his left. Will keep it and gain half a yard. Trayvon Hester caught him by the heels. It'll be 2nd and 9.5.
Nice job of penetration. Look at Trayvon Hester moving down the line, never giving up on the play and chasing down Keenan Reynolds. Outstanding job by the big fella up front.
2nd and a long 9. A start and a stop from Damon Brown. Play clock is at 9. Reynolds takes the snap, moving left, will pitch it to Whiteside. Tried to sneak between 2 defenders, but Junior Silvestri and Jaron Elliott able to take him to the turf at about the 11-yard line, and a 3rd down and 6 here for Navy.
And with the kind of running we have seen today on both sides of the ball, but particularly when you're looking at Navy, you got to think Toledo right now is playing on some fumes, and it's a lot of adrenaline going on right now because this is a long football game.
Reynolds moving right, keeps it himself, finds a crease, up ahead just shy of the 5-yard line, and it will be 4th down and 1, and a decision that will be made quickly as Keenan Reynolds gets right under center, hands it off to Copeland, who is stopped. Copeland is stopped, but a flag is down. A flag is down. Toledo was trying to make quick substitutions, and
that was a mistake, Ryan. I think that the Toledo
part of the ball being snapped. Charge timeout, Toledo.
So a timeout will be taken. No flag. A timeout instead will be granted to Matt Campbell's Toledo Rockets.
Wow. Well, that substitution, when you know on that third down, following that third down, you're going to fourth down, 4th and 1, they're going to go quick. You don't have time for that substitution. That was part of the problem. The defense also jumped, so they were offside. So there was a combination of bad things, all of which were taken back because of that timeout by Matt Campbell and the rest of the squad, getting Toledo a second shot on this 4th and 1.
For Ken Niumatalolo, any decision here, any hesitation with going for it on 4th and 1?
I don't think so. I think when you're on the road and you get into that second overtime and he's looking at his squad right now, he's probably looking, we talked about the fatigue factor just now for the defense for Toledo. I think Navy, he's probably looking in the players' eyes and he's trying to make those decisions. He knows they're getting tired. We're in a second overtime. I think he realizes we've got to get this first down.
They are 3 of 4 on 4th down today. This will be a 4th and 1 from the Toledo 6 here on this opening possession of overtime number 2. Copeland in the backfield, so is Brown and Whiteside. Reynolds pitches it to Whiteside, trying the right side. He has the first down and he has the end zone. Joffrey Whiteside puts Navy up by a touchdown.
Ryan, I love that play call. They've done that time and time again, but that very quick snap pitch to the outside, get Joffrey Whiteside out in space. He's got that speed. We talked about it. He's a playmaker. He's got breakaway speed. Not only gets the first down, but actually gets into the end zone for the touchdown. This puts a lot of pressure on Toledo.
Nick Sloan on for the extra point. And Sloan missed it. Sloan pushed it right.
Wow.
Nick Sloan with a missed PAT. And Navy's lead is just 6 as Toledo gets the ball here in this second overtime.
Holy smokes. I did not see that coming because, yes, he missed that 38-yarder earlier, but that was way over on the left side hash. He makes the 40-yarder from the left side hash. Now it's just an extra point. It's a chip shot. Sloan's got the leg, but that time, unfortunately, pushed it to the right, missed that extra point. I said the pressure was on Toledo. They still have to score a touchdown, but they know what they've got to do, and if with the touchdown they get that extra point, that's a killer.
Whiteside was able to take it in on the 4th down and 1, but then Nick Sloan, for the second time this year, misses an extra point. And this one is very costly as you see his reaction, as Navy's lead is just 6, and so Toledo with a real opportunity. Damian Jones-Moore remains in. Terrence Owens with the play clock at 10. And a 1st and 10 from the 25 gives to Jones-Moore. Moore running into Peterson and ramming his way just inside the 20-yard line.
Nice big gap there, nice hole to be able to run through. Finally, Peterson makes the tackle, but it's not till we see 5 yards down the field. By the way, snapper, holder, they're working on all that right now down on the sidelines, Ryan.
Here is a 2nd down and 5 for Toledo. Toledo coming off its bye week. Navy trying to resurrect after a brutal loss to Duke last week, 35-7. Owens, play action to throw to the end zone, to Reedy for the score. There is a flag down at the 8-yard line, but should it hold up, Toledo would be an extra point away from a win.
It's going to hold up. That was a hold. One of the Navy players literally practically tackled the receiver going downfield at about the 5.
Holding. Number 46 in the defense. The penalties decline. Touchdown.
So now, after that beautiful strike from Terrence Owens to Bernard Reedy, Jeremiah Detmer's extra point would give Toledo a double overtime win. Detmer is about as good as it gets as far as kicking at the collegiate ranks goes. And Navy will call a timeout. You don't often see icing a kicker on a PAT, but in this case...
It's understandable, though. Why wouldn't you right now? I mean, there's nothing left for them to do. Why not use the timeout here? They're going to try everything humanly possible.
Take a look at the gorgeous throw. Those two have been trying to link up all day, and quite a few drops from Reedy, but there, his third touchdown grab of the season. And the All-MAC wideout puts Toledo an extra point away from a win. After Nick Sloan's missed PAT, here's Jeremiah Detmer. Snap is good, spot down, and Toledo has won in double overtime. 45-44 as Ken Niumatalolo's team loses on a missed extra point in the second overtime. Nick Sloan could not connect on his PAT, and Jeremiah Detmer did. Sloan pushed it wide, knew he left open a window of opportunity. Detmer put it through, and Toledo wins it in double overtime, 45-44, as the sun shines brighter than it has all day here in Ohio. Coming up next, more college football as BYU faces Houston. Thanks for joining us.